Jack's RPG Podcast. I'm in Max. Pursuing the RPG hobby with reckless abandon.
Why, hello.
Hi.
And welcome to Season 21, Episode 11 of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
My name is Stork.
I am Rob.
I'm Abria.
What? Huh?
A new person on the podcast.
Oh, and what do you say when you have a new person?
Who are you and what do you do that makes you famous?
Sweet. I already said my name, so we did that. What makes me famous? I have pony hair. End of story. Got it.
Okay.
Well, we've had Tappy and we have Adam on too. So and we
Damn it,
have
that's a
a
good
we have a
point.
girl with green hair too. So
Yeah, they have like My Little Pony hair. Mine's just a literal mane. I do feel like I have to like dye it now because of like everyone
pressure?
here. Yeah.
do you have a show coming up you want to promote?
Ooh, no.
She does stuff around LA. You'll have to look her up.
I do
She's
this
the only
much
one named
stand-up.
Abria in LA, right?
Yeah, exactly. I do a little bit of stand-up and a ton of improv.
Oh, do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
She's a funny person.
Yeah.
You can find her around.
You ever played the Ice House?
Jokes? Yes.
Have you really?
Oh my God.
I've always wanted to go there and I've never been.
That's really good.
It's actually,
over
you've
here.
never been there?
No, I've never been there.
Okay.
That was like my favorite open mic.
Ain't never been there. They tell me it's ice.
When is the open mic nights? Or
Oh
do they
man,
say?
it's like Thursdays at 4, so it takes you like 3 hours to get there from the west side. It's a nightmare, but it's really nice.
Or like 5 minutes from the top of the hill.
Hey,
Yeah. So, yeah.
get out of here, Irvine.
Yeah, I was going to say, you want to compare commutes?
It's okay. He's moving. It'll take him 4 hours to get there from here, from where he's going to
So this episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast is sponsored by EasyRollerDice.com and their self-standing leather light dice bags. Now funding on Kickstarter. You can go to EasyRollerDice.com/bag. We'll talk about more that a little bit later. But first, if you'd like to email us, you can email us at happyjacksrpg@gmail.com. That's happyjacksrpg@gmail.com.
You got to email us because this is where we get our material.
Yeah.
That's all we got.
Yeah.
Yeah. We ran out of topics a long time ago, like 7 years
nothing.
ago.
And we've never had talent.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Clearly.
Rely on you, please. Save us.
for the love of God and all things holy.
And you can find us on social media, Happy Jack's RPG, all one word, and that's on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. Not
Snapchat.
MySpace. MySpace is still
Why
going.
not?
I don't know.
Were you ever going to do that Tribes one? That
Tribes, no more.
What is Tribes?
No. Tribe.net. It was
Oh, okay.
mostly burners.
Okay.
Like burners
Sweet.
and nudists and stuff. It got a little
that was
creepy.
redundant.
Fair
What
enough.
you just said was redundant.
That's fair.
Fair.
No,
fair.
that's an intersection in the Venn diagrams.
But like, there's
Two
so
circles.
overlap.
But not all nudists go to Burning Man.
Fair.
That's true.
Fair.
Some
it's-
of them have too fair of skin.
That's,
You just
I,
can't be in that sun.
I just love my time at Burning Man. That's all I want to say.
I've never been, and I really want to go.
It's amazing. It is a fantastically amazing.
I'll bet it made
just
you
worried
feel
I'll
like
never
you
have
were
enough
really
water.
young and really in shape.
Yeah, kind of, a little bit. Yeah, it was nice.
And if you'd like to watch the show live, you can go to happyjacks.org/live. We do the show on Friday nights at 8 p.m.-ish.
We do?
Pacific time. Pacific Daylight Time now.
Oh man, I'm tweeting the wrong thing all day.
Oh, my God.
I was doing PST.
I like daylight savings time.
What do you do with the...
I wish it was
Time that you
all
say.
year round.
Sure.
You like it so much you want it all year round?
I would, if, well, I don't like changing my clocks.
I don't think you
there's
like
no need.
change.
Yeah.
Let's.
Yes. Generally speaking, yes. But I mean, it's terrible. I don't like it.
That's
Anyway.
terrible. Kenny.
In this episode of Happy Jack's RPG Podcast, Corbin Twa writes in about splitting up the party in real life. Brandon from Ontario in Canada gives us an update about his high school RPG club. Sergeant Dan writes in to talk about explaining RPGs and to plug Fear the Con. And Brian in Long Beach writes in about GM motivations.
He might not be in Long Beach. He could be in Compton because it says LBC here.
I think he's in Long Beach.
Is it supposed to be? It's supposed to be LBZ. Isn't it like the
LBZ?
zone? I don't know. I'm bad at rap. Oh God. Oh no.
All I know is
Having been
Turning it back.
born and raised in Long Beach,
Yeah.
that's not Compton. They're two separate cities.
however, there is some overlap if you're involved in certain activities.
People from Compton and Long Beach are allowed to go in each other's cities. Yes, you were correct.
But only with the proper documentation.
That's
Yes,
correct, yes.
or colors.
Yeah.
Or tags.
or wearing the correct shirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
In certain parts of Long Beach, that's correct.
Yeah.
I'm from the hardcore part of Long Beach, from East Long Beach, where the golf courses are.
It's rough. That was rough.
Oh,
boy.
Their game colors are puce.
Yes.
And khaki.
Yeah.
Plaid.
Whatever color Tommy Bahama is.
Yes.
Actually, can someone ask Sam that? Like, what's the Pantone for Tommy Bahama? Like,
Oh, she could probably give
yeah.
it to you off the top.
a little scary.
All right. So, EasyRollerDice.com has another cool Kickstarter going on right now, right this minute. This time they are launching a large leather light, which is, I guess, a faux leather.
Vegan leather?
I think so.
For us environmentally
Probably.
conscious.
Naga hide or
Cruelty-free
Corinthian leather.
Yes. Dice bags that are that have awesome graphics on them on the front, as well as the ability to hold around 400 dice.
That is not enough for me.
Well, you can get more than one.
Dice hell is real.
Right.
I live in it constantly.
So the best part is, you have a chance, right? Because 400 can't all be bad. Stork, you just nope. Those two didn't work. 398.
Yep.
396. Or
400 critical failures on the wall. 400 critical failures.
And that's not Easy Roller's fault. Okay,
It's not.
Just so you know, Easy Roller, thank you for sponsoring us. Continue on.
All right. These dice bags, go look at them. You can go to easyrollerdice.com/bag, and you can see them. They're cool. They're very cool.
They're gorgeous. Stop playing with the Crown Royal bag, because I know you are.
Right.
I know you are. It's not just me. Get a real bag.
it's true.
You're a grown-up player.
You'd think before now someone would have created some really amazing dice bags, but there really aren't that many great dice bags on the market. This is Easy Roller's campaign to change all of that. So check them out.
Yep.
Please. EasyRollerDice.com/bag. I'd like to thank them for sponsoring the show.
Yep.
And if you enjoy the show and you want to support the show, you can always support our sponsors. We love it when you do, and they love it even more.
Yeah.
They've sponsored us, and I still went to their site and actually bought dice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. They're
They
fantastic.
actually have a great site.
Well, I got-
They truly do.
This was the Kickstarter. It's a closing
Yeah.
dice tray.
Oh, that's
They really have a
cute.
lot of great
Yeah,
little
Celtic
that's
dragon
awesome.
on it.
Yeah.
It's got
That's
like a little
fantastic.
staging area. You can put those don't need to be there.
I just
But
like
you can put the dice in here, and so you're only rolling the dice that you.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's cool, and then you can close it up and
And the top's also a tray for everybody to share.
yeah.
So it's another one.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a multitasker. Yeah, they do. They think about stuff. They don't just put it
They
out.
do.
They
Oh,
actually think about
yeah.
stuff, and it's all very gamer usable.
Yeah.
It is.
I do wonder if one of those bags though, you can get the Crown Royal logo as an
Right?
option.
Ooh, might be a
I
licensing.
100%
Might
wanna
be a
take
licensing
that,
thing.
like-
Every time you say that, you have to pay them $10.
Maybe they could make it Crown Royale.
Royal
Yeah,
with
because it's
cheese.
French.
Perfect.
Because they have the metric system, right?
Different.
All right. So thank you very much, EasyRollerDice.com, EasyRollerDice.com/bag. If you were interested in that fine. Oh, I switched it back. Sorry, guys. This is the dice tray I was talking about. I accidentally switched the thing back. This is the dice tray we had.
It's beautiful.
It's cool. It's got a little lid. There you go.
I just sounded like you were drinking water.
I
That
am
sounds
drinking water.
He's got.
So
he's got
are
to hydrate.
we.
well, true. Fair enough.
There's some contaminants in it. It's not just water. They're drinking my Michelob Ultra. All right. Thank you very much. EasyRollerDice.com/bag. Go to that.
Nice. Buy it.
Yep.
Buy it.
Please.
Several.
Support.
Support the Kickstarter.
All right. Splitting the party in real life from Corbin Twa. Since you're a guest, do you want to read the first email?
Oh, yeah. See,
All right.
I didn't flip the page.
Next
Oh,
one.
no. One more.
It's
Well, actually,
anticipation.
So
Whilst
while
he's
I'm flipping, quick question.
Whilst-
So
yes.
how does help a player work?
In this,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't.
I actually have a quick story while she was trying to find that. My daughter wrote me a couple of weeks ago about a classic problem, which is they had a problem player, and I had to give them the same advice, which is you need to have an adult conversation. But it's a little. She brought up the point, and this is something maybe we don't touch on all the time. That here she is, in college. It's a small college. It's kind of the same group of people, and not everybody's very mature.
Yeah.
So having
Sure.
an adult conversation is actually not that common.
Only works if they're both adults.
If any of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It might be a flaw in our little advice there because I told her to have that, and she kind of countered back, which is, there's a lot of people that are, and I'm like, I had to sort of rethink it. So she said,
Yeah, lie.
Nope.
well,
Nope.
Lie.
she's still going to have the conversation, but it's going to have to be a bunch of minefields and navigating to have the conversation correctly. No, you're like,
Fuck that.
Fuck that, Snowflake.
You pop that grenade, you roll, you blow up all the mines in between you and the subject, and you just go and you go at it. Right? Like we were
eat alone in the commissary. God damn it, you just take it.
No, you find better friends. That's the case.
It's a small college.
Small college. That's not an option.
That's cool. It is. There's more than 5 people at a college.
Disagree.
Not this one.
That's not legal.
Hogwarts.
That's
the same.
Still more than 5. It's just because we know that because 5 die about once every other day.
That's
at
true.
Hogwarts.
That's a very fair point.
So,
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think she can still have an adult conversation with
That was the advice that we eventually came down to, but it was with the caveat that not everybody knows how to have them or take them very well.
Yeah.
We're assuming that
Yes.
there's somebody that's over 20 or such, or has been away from home more than a year, which isn't always the case, and
Sure.
sometimes these people don't have a.
Some people don't grow up until they're 30.
if ever.
40. I think that.
waiting.
Why are you
I
looking at
think-
me like that?
Yeah,
Any
exactly.
day now.
When we have adult conversations, we have adult conversations for as much of adults as we are.
Okay.
True.
So
Okay.
they are going to have a similar maturity level adult conversation.
Yeah. And part of the problem was the GM didn't want to do it, so it's a player against player kind of thing. So the rest of the players want to vote this other player out because So yeah, it's full of all those pitfalls. But how do you have an adult conversation if people aren't adults? I guess is kind of the takeaway. And you're right.
It's a great
way
chance to learn how to have that kind of conversation. too.
or
With
not.
the lowest.
It starts with-
because it's a game.
Right,
Yeah, exactly. That's
yeah.
true.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to start with, "Man, I don't know how to say this," and then you say it.
That's kind of what I said. I kind of said you need to start with a bunch of caveats, like and maybe be self-deprecating. Like I'm having an existential crisis with the combat system in 5e,
And I hate you.
and I hate this guy,
Yeah.
and the rest of the players do too. And if he keeps showing up, we're going to leave. See how that
But
works.
I can't say before you kick someone out, you should have a conversation with them because
100%.
very
That gives them
often
a chance.
they may not be aware that they're being a-holes.
Exactly.
Especially when you're younger.
Yeah.
Like you're still you're like in the world and you're like a big dumb dog. Like, am I doing it right? And you're like, not even a little bit. And maybe they're an only child that like did not know how people behave. And like it's like a weird, like everyone's doing this weird growing, like, I'm an adult, but like not even a little bit in my brain. But like the world says I am, and give everyone at least one chance. Like, hey, yo, like you're cool, and that's why we brought you in the first place. However, like it's getting a little weird. This is kind of a thing. Like, I don't want you to feel. Like, and you always have to say that, like, I don't want you to feel attacked because I know you do.
Right.
And I don't care if you do feel attacked, but I'm just acknowledging it. Like, acknowledge their concerns and like know how you would feel if like someone came to you out of the blue and you thought you were like super golden, and just say like, this isn't trying to attack you, but I just wanted to like let you know what the deal is, and like give some positive, like, this is where you're great, and this is like how you shine and how you help the party and like help the campaign, and here's where you can improve. So as long as they know like I'm doing stuff right too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the
Now
sandwich.
stop the fuckery.
Right.
It's the sandwich.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a positive, the whole meat of negative,
Yeah.
and then another positive at the end.
Exactly.
Right. Because everyone likes
It's like a
bread.
Reuben.
That's right. Yeah. Especially celiac.
Yeah.
People with celiac.
Yeah.
The problem is he's one of those players, but we'll see how it all works out because sometimes, despite all the logic in the world,
Yeah.
Sure.
they're still just they pick up their toys and throw temper tantrums and table flip and leave.
Yeah.
Or don't leave.
Yeah.
So
Let us know. Let us know what happens.
I know, yeah. I'll bring it up later. I think she's in the middle of tests and such. Anyway, it was one of these things I'm like, well, I gave her Happy Jack's advice, and then she countered with some logical stuff, and I'm like,
But no,
Old
Dad.
man, you don't know anything.
yeah, pretty much. Listen, old man.
My game's different than every other game. You don't understand. It's
Fair
not
enough.
like yours.
You're fair enough.
It's not like yours.
You don't know. You're actually game with people that listen, take notes.
Yeah, we were kind of blessed in that sense. All right, anyway,
I
to the
finally
emails,
turned to
yes.
the thing. A couple minutes later, here we go. Dear Stupid Man and the Just Douche League, Corbin Twa here once again. It's been some time since I've written, but I've come to you now with a question most dire about splitting the party in real life. Deep breath, take a drink. Here we go. Drink your drinks. It's literal. My group used to be 6 people strong, just enough for someone to run a game for the rest without it getting too cluttered, and with enough wiggle room that there was no big to-do if a couple people couldn't make it. But recently we've had a bit of an influx. Cool, no problem. Always happy to see more people getting into the hobby. But it quickly turned into, sure, you can bring a friend, into trouble with tribble situation. 1 new person turned into 2, which turned into 4, which turned into, well, you get the idea. Now our 6th person has turned into, a matter of 3 weeks, 13.
What's that ad did? You tell 2 friends,
And they tell 2 friends.
Yeah.
That
and
was a
so on, and so on.
shampoo commercial?
It's all MLM, like
Yeah.
multi-level marketing. Sweet. Yeah,
Fact.
sorry, I'll keep going now.
That's how Amway works.
I know, it sounds like I'm complaining that someone dipped their chocolate in my peanut butter. But the issue comes in when everyone sort of just agrees to play 1 game at a time, period. That means 1 person running for no less than 10 players on a regular basis. We play every week. And like 9 naked men just walking down the road. It causes a heap of trouble for all concerned.
Okay, you have
Says you!
You have no idea. You have no idea what that reference is, do you? You have no idea what that reference is.
None! But
Yeah.
but my mental image is amazing.
There's a video,
Yeah.
and it's
Oh, no.
fantastic.
Well, or not.
Well, I have to leave the
amazing.
podcast and now go watch this video.
It went viral kind of back before things really went viral.
Yeah.
And
Before age gates and red tubes,
and
Oh,
it
yeah.
actually got pulled
Yes.
for the longest
And it-
time.
it got
Yes.
pulled a lot.
It-
Oh,
it disappeared. But it's
I
this,
got it.
it's this video of 9 naked men marching down the road
like in England.
Yep.
and singing a song.
And
You
they're not.
made them English, and I'm like,
And they're not even good.
No, no, no.
they were all Chris Evans
they're-
with beards.
they're all
until
like-
a
they're all
second
like-
ago.
Oh no!
They're all
no,
gimmick.
not at all.
They're all middle-aged or older.
Well, all right.
Some
Let me
of them
put
might
it this
be
way.
younger. None are in
It's
shape.
like the
We look
Sahara
good
down here
compared to
now.
them.
Cool. You guys look good compared to everyone.
It's a hysterical video.
It's amazing.
I'm gonna look
It's-
it up.
It's
Really
fantastic.
I think
It's gonna be a bunch
After
of
the
tweets
show.
later.
Yeah.
Just
After
be
the
live
show.
tweeting, watching that
To
thing.
be fair, I think guys think it's funnier than women do. Just
I'm
so you know.
sure.
I mean,
And there was an incident back when Fair was out in Delaware
Yes.
where it was recreated by
Yes.
some people as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
And they got in trouble.
Yes, you bet they
They
got,
got
in
in a heap
trouble.
of trouble.
I like that
for
you
all
said it
concerned.
maybe. Like, maybe the dinglings were good.
It's fair.
That's a fair point.
It is a fair point.
But there are still lines, and they crossed them, and
They
they
put
yes,
the
they got in
pleasure
trouble.
in pleasure
Um,
fair.
Yes.
It still proves the point that 9 naked men walking down the road cause a heap of trouble for
They
all
do.
concerned.
It does a lot.
The weird part for me in the video was the children.
Well,
That was,
Yes.
mwah, good night, folks.
Okay, you really
We're
need to
done
clarify
here.
that now because
Please do.
now,
No, watch the
now we've
video.
ended up on a bunch of like watch groups here.
like
Yeah.
you weren't.
Well, yeah, but
All right. Go watch the video.
Sorry.
Not at work.
That's only because everybody thinks you're 15.
I mean, I'm gonna. Like, I'm
9
very
naked
excited.
men just walking down the road.
Was that literally the song?
Yes,
Yes.
it's hysterical.
On the
It's
nose.
so funny.
Okay, sweet. Okay. Everyone starts trying to talk over each other, get caught up in their own little corner of the table. People get bored and pull out their phone, not paying attention to what's happening until it's their turn, and now they're completely lost. And this is before combat even starts. It's not uncommon for the GM to have to go over the past 5-10 minutes several times before everyone gets back into the game. I do my best to keep everyone on track, but you all know what corralling gamers can be like. Now, I don't want to boot anyone out, because what kind of asshole would that make me? But I would like to run another game, and I would like to do so without the entire Fellowship of the Ring in tow. That's good. That's a nerd reference.
And my
I got it. I got that one. I mean, I'll do what I have to do, but this overly large player tables, in my experience, are the antithesis of fun.
Yep.
This splitting up to run smaller, more manageable games is a subject everyone kind of just refuses to talk about. It's come up once before on the group Discord, and everyone went on radio silence for 2 days before going on like it never happened.
Oh, boy.
This is my number
Wow.
one strat for all conversation. Shit, I feel attacked. That hit hard.
Hey, do you want to come to my wedding?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Dude,
I was
I'm
driving
so-
to the valley, and it just didn't even.
I missed it.
And I didn't see it. Like, sometimes it just. Phone! And you just break your phone. Just do that.
I do all the time.
Yeah.
I love doing that.
I know I've got to hike up my shorts and have the talk. Not that one, but kind of that one. Sooner or later. But do you have any advice on how to broach the subject of wanting to run a game with a hard cap on player slots rather than letting everyone play that doesn't come off as being, well, a douchebag? Have you ever had problems with overcrowded tables, and how did you deal with them?
Yes, you
Yeah.
have.
Sorry this email is a bit long, but this has been simmering in my mind for a while now. I promise to make it up to y'all with a horror story in the future. Thank you. All my best to you. To all of you. To mostly Abria. That's weird that he included that.
It
that
is.
was very
It really-
nice.
Yeah.
Thank
He's
you.
like
He's
He's
prescient.
Yeah,
He wrote this
knew.
months ago.
He
right?
knew. In the words of the great Limp Bizkit, just keep rolling, 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 rolling. Ah!
You knew that one.
Yeah, that's... I feel bad that I didn't know rap, but I know Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, you still don't know rap.
Whoop. Hurtful. Says the dude that looks the closest to Limp Bizkit at the table.
And you have no idea how much that hurts my soul. Yeah. Look, I was born this way. What do you want?
He grew up in East LA. It's a pretty rough neighborhood.
No, that was Steven.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I grew up in La Puente. The Barrio. The other Barrio.
Yeah, it's still pretty rough.
Yeah.
I went to school
So
in Whittier.
when you were in high school, were you small enough to put in a locker?
I could...
Could shut the door?
No one...
Small?
So we had half lockers.
Oh, so yeah.
Yes. So thankfully no one tried, but I tried, and I could fit.
Oh, I thought you tried to put
What
someone
you don't
else.
know is
No, I well, yes, but that's a different
what you
story.
don't know is that she and I are sitting, and he's actually standing up.
Yeah. He's been jumping the whole time. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very tiring.
Hey, guys, I can reach the table.
He just rolls.
I
with it.
love
It's
being
so
part of the
awesome.
Lollipop Guild.
Yeah.
It's totally, it's
You
great.
get all the suckers you can.
Yeah, oh, I'm surrounded by suckers right now.
That's good.
So to transition smoothly, Stu,
Yes.
there were a bunch of people at your table, and I believe there's no recordings of that game.
No, that was before we started doing recordings.
11.
Actually, I had a
Before
larger
microphones.
game than that.
Yes,
I ran a
yeah,
GURPS.
It's not a competition.
I ran a GURPS cyberpunk game in the early 90s. 18 players.
That's a record. That's
That's
got to
a
be a
lot.
record somewhere.
18
Yeah.
players.
It's got
Just
to be.
threw up in my
Room
mouth
By
a little
yourself.
The
A little
room
bit.
was filled. I couldn't say no. One of the things.
Disagree.
One of the things. One of the things was.
He hasn't learned yet.
I,
He's
Yeah.
young.
I had. I was in my 20s. I had the circle of like 6 or 8 players, and then Bill and I went to a game convention. This is when the Strategicon conventions first kind of moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And we went there and ran a thing called Uncle Melvin's Impossible GURPS Adventure, and it's a horrible game.
It's very cute.
But
It doesn't sound good.
and we ran it as a
Actually
tournament.
does. I would have signed up for
We
that.
ran it as a tournament. There were 2 sessions, and then we picked the top 3 or 4 players from each session, and did a third
Middle
combined
yeah,
session,
Yeah.
and then gave out prizes.
Cool.
It was fun, but I met some fantastic role players there.
I'm sure.
People who also were big GURPS enthusiasts. So the group started slowly growing, and then I put out the call. I want to run because GURPS Cyberpunk had just come out, and it actually made news, like real news in the real world, because it was
news?
the book was seized by the Secret Service
Wait, what?
because they thought they were writing a manual on hacking.
Steve Jackson.
That's awesome.
Steve
That's
Jackson's
so
famous.
good.
That's amazing.
First of all, Steve Jackson researched the Illuminati and then put out a bunch of stuff on the Illuminati, and then they raided his offices, which just proved the Illuminati point.
Yes!
Yeah. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. Go look it up someday. It's an amazing story.
And yeah, they took all their computers away and a
Yeah.
whole bunch of other stuff, and they had to go to. I think this is before the EFF. I think it was they brought the ACLU in.
Yeah.
And were able to get some of their stuff back, but the book ended up being. The production date ended up being pushed back
yeah.
by months and months and months.
Which is the best publicity he ever
Yeah,
could have
right?
had for a game
Right.
about
Oh my
Illuminati.
God.
And when
So
the book
edgy.
and when the book came out, there's a big triangle that says "seized by the United States Secret Service." Blah, blah, blah.
And I think if you go to his
Right.
website or even Steve Jackson Games, it's still got that big Illuminati
That's
symbol there.
so
That's awesome.
good.
That's
So
that's fantastic.
So when I got the book, I read through it and decided we wanted to run it, and I didn't say no to anyone. So I ended up having 18 players. 2 GMs. It was me and this other guy, and we kind of divided up the work.
Well, that was going to be one of my suggestions.
But we still kept the same game. But because it was so large, there was especially during combat, so much downtime for
Yeah.
everyone there. I
Yeah.
mean, you're going to take your turn, and literally with 18 people, it's going to be like 45 minutes before you're going to have a
Correct.
And GURPS
Yeah.
combat's
At
quick
least.
because people die.
Yeah.
Especially Cyberpunk, because it's guns that do huge amounts
So you
of
may
damage.
not even
and-
get your turn at combat because 4 people in, the guy's dead.
Yikes.
Possibly.
That's a way to
That's nuts.
thin it out quick.
Just
Nope,
kill them.
you're dead.
Permadeath.
Nope,
Yeah.
you're dead.
Oh, you use Blackleaf rules.
You're dead. Yeah. Leave the table.
You know Blackleaf rules?
Nope.
I think that's sitting around there somewhere. There's a Jack Chick Bible
A
tract,
tick track?
that says,
Tiny little thing.
is it not there?
No.
Oh, someone was taking it.
I'm a bad looker.
Okay, it was. You know who Jack Chick is?
Yes.
The Bible tracts, the
Yeah,
crazy
yeah,
ass Bible
yeah,
tracts.
yeah.
Okay. Well, he did one about D&D.
Huh?
It
Because
was
it's
called
satanic,
Dark,
right?
Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why we all got into it.
That-
Totally.
That's how you learn the real magic.
Roll for fuck my boyfriend.
And but in it, one of the characters, the main character in it, who ends up hanging herself, has a character named Blackleaf. And in their game, when her character dies, she has to leave the game. She's banned. She can't play again. So that's
called
that's why-
Blackleaf
That's why I
rules.
call those Blackleaf.
Nice. I like that. Sweet. Yeah.
Most people call it sudden
Roguelike.
death, but
But-
they call it Blackleaf.
And this happens and this also, when I ran the 4th edition D&D game that started out with 6 players and ended up being 11 players,
Yeah.
which is way too many.
And
especially
it went for a
4th edition.
year.
It did run for a while.
You ran that thing for like
I
over a
toughed
year.
it out for a while. Switching systems, we went to Hero, which was
Yep.
the mistake. We
For
went
like
to
a
GURPS.
weekend, yeah. And then it went
Yeah.
to GURPS. And
But in both of those games, I failed as a GM by not saying no, because the more you could, there's a sweet spot. I think it's like 3 to 4. Some people say it's 6. There are some people who can do 8, especially if you're playing sort of an old school D&D. You can have more players in that, but there's a max. There's a max there, and if you're going over that max, you are doing a disservice to every player in that game,
Right,
because none of them are going to have as much fun as
Correct.
if it was
not
a
only are the
reasonable-
players repeating themselves, like, all right, so how many rangers do we have? Okay, so there's 3. You 3 are rangers, and you
Yeah.
2 are clerics, and you 8 are paladins. Okay.
No one's
After a while,
paladin,
it's
stop.
just not that much.
So, yes and no, right? So, for instance, I kind of agree with you. I think I might push it to 6 depending on system and stuff like that, but I think the sweet spot for a lot of the APs is 4, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
But
But that's more visual than anything else. For us, that's visual.
don't give up the secrets.
you have every
Just
class
sounds good.
covered, too.
Yeah.
But what I think, it depends on why you're there. So, for instance, if you're going to hang out with a close group of friends and a game breaks out, basically, then it doesn't matter how many people are. Like 8 people
Yeah.
is still good, right? Because you know you're there primarily to hang out, not to play the game, right? Even if game day is why everybody gets together, then cool. But it's just more for everybody hanging out. If it's like the Monday or Wednesday, the regular podcasts or the APs that are going on, and they are specifically games to explore characters and to get into the mode and to get into the mood, then the smaller group is, I think, where you need to sit.
But sitting at that table with 13 people or 12 people, there might be people who want that more in-depth game,
Yeah.
and
Correct.
they ain't going to get it.
Yeah, no.
It's not going to have the chance.
The ones. Oh, go ahead.
No,
Sweet.
go.
The one time I dealt with this, because it's LA, and I was dealing with like a flock of girls who were like, "Let's D&D. I want to try it." And I'm like, "Okay, this is too many."
And then you can't say no because you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I've got to do this right.
Exactly. Well, I was also just excited. I'm like, all girls. Like, no one's gonna hit weirdly on anyone, and it won't be creepy because I just come out with a bunch of like Adventurers League nonsense.
Ugh.
But then we
Oh,
were
no.
more
I'm
I'm so
perverted.
sorry.
I didn't know. I was young and thirsty and just
I'm
needed
so
more
sorry.
dice.
Did
You
you
get
learn your lesson?
400 with a...
Yeah,
with a-
exactly. I just needed the dice bag, but it wasn't around yet. But now it's fine. So we did like LA Rules. It was a spinoff. So we had the one I got everyone to the one big fight where it was kind of a slog, and everyone did like half of the things they wanted to do, and
Which edition?
this is
Four?
5e.
5e.
I've only ever played 5e. Sorry, kind of
That's all right.
newer to D&D. And I tried to get them to coordinate with each other. I'm like, you guys, like, you 3 who are friends, like, do a thing together. So they would, like, split off and, like, decide on the thing they wanted to do. So we ended up playing a little faster and looser. And then the groups that had naturally formed, I split into, like, 2 different D&D groups.
How
Now,
many
how many
So-
players did you have?
There were 10 and a half.
Oh my
10 and a half.
Yeah.
Half.
One girl like showed up wicked stoned, so she's like, "I'm emotionally invested, but I do not know what's
So
happening."
she was a druid.
yeah.
She just played a druid the whole
She
time.
played a ranger that was just like, "I'm just gonna pet my panther the
love
whole
rangers.
That explains so much.
time." Yeah, right.
Love them.
Right.
Can't lay off them.
So basically, like the cleric like hooked her arm around her and was like, we're together.
That's right.
It's just she's doing her best.
Yeah.
So we got through the big fight, and I was like, okay, you guys get like one plot hook, and then you guys get another, and then we had 2 games for a while. So I don't think splitting the party's bad. Like, at the end of the day, you want to have the best experience for everyone involved and for yourself. So if you love this and you like everyone in the group, like, keep playing with all of them, but not all together. And they can cross over as much as they want. So that was the other part of like the spin-off is we allowed for crossover, so you just picked the session you wanted to go to. And like I had like a little email that went out every week, like, here's what this group's doing. Does anyone want to like randomly? And we just bamf people in. They're like, and walking through Waterdeep is like 3 fuckers. Like, here you go. Here's your friends. Ta-da! Like, so it worked pretty well
I
for a
think
while.
Splitting up, and were you running 2 separate games?
Yeah.
Okay.
On the same day?
No, they were like a day apart, but like everyone would hang out. So it was just like, girls' weekend. So like everyone would come and hang out, and then like everyone else, like half the group would like go and play like a different game while we were running our like D&D thing. So the D&D sessions were only like 2 hours long instead of like a 4-hour one with everyone. So yeah, 2 hours, and then everyone went and played like Cosmic Encounter, and then like the next day we'd play different games, and it was like brunch. So
That's awesome.
It does, actually.
yeah, right.
Because when I first read this, the solution I thought of was, yeah, you have to split. Make someone else GM.
That too.
And instead of just hosting a game, host a game day. And if you've got the room, if you've got 2 places where you can have 2 tables going, everyone still gets to socialize and, you know, well, hey, what's going on over there? But you can have 2 separate games going on at
Yeah.
the same
Yes.
time. That way you don't have to exclude anyone if you don't want to. Because it sounds like he doesn't want to exclude anyone.
Yeah.
Now, I was part of a group that did that a long time ago. I can't do math right now. But basically what it was is we had a very large group, and Gammon, who's been on the show, was involved.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, and so basically what it ended up doing is we took, it's probably about the same amount of people, half went into one room. Like, we'd all get together, we'd all hang out, we'd all eat.
Yeah.
Half goes into one room, half goes into another
Nice.
room. We play, we can hear the commotion going on, and it was in the same basic world. So we knew we would run into each
Oh,
other.
that's legit.
We knew we could swap.
That's
We
awesome.
knew we could do everything like that, and we could share experiences.
Yeah.
And like you
That's
said, like
legit,
hot swap
yeah.
at some point, and then but it required the second GM, and it required them talking to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they there's a lot of coordination with something like
Yeah.
that. If you're going to run 2 separate games that are both happening in the same universe,
Yeah.
and there's going to be crossover, you got to make sure time is traveling at the right pace in both of them, or when it's not, how
Or
they're
not,
going
and
to
then
catch
it's just
up.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's like
Right,
hand
yeah.
wavy. Yeah. You're
But
30
there's
years
more
younger.
coordination. Plus the stuff that you decide in your game, you got to check with the other GM. In one way or another, it's like, oh no, I decided to make this guy the bad guy, but oh, he's the good guy. Mine. Oh, what do we? How?
Twins. it's always twins.
Nailed it.
Right.
Those evil twins.
But yeah, I mean, it worked out. It worked out for a while. I think it just kind of naturally fell apart
Yeah.
from time. But
Right.
but
It's-
overall,
yeah,
I
commitment
thought it
after a
was it is.
And
a
that's
big commitment.
especially for the GMs because
Yeah.
they're going to have to talk to each other between sessions.
Yep.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Say this is what happened in the game. Especially this is probably back when no one was recording games,
No. Yeah.
so there's no record of what happened. It's only what the GM's recollection is, and say, well, what happened in your game? Well, we did this and this, and I think we did. I don't remember. And then
Now, if he says he's running with 13 people,
right.
he makes 14. That's 7 people per room. That's a GM and 6 people.
Perfect
Motherfucker.
D&D group. There you go.
Nailed
So
it.
my thought for the solution was is what I did with Dave, which
we
is
solved
have a co-GM. Oh,
We
all right.
already
all
solved it.
You're right.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're done. This podcast is about just answering the question and moving on.
Well, we didn't
sorry.
actually.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
We didn't actually answer the question because he
No.
was asking how to broach the subject.
So I was thinking, if you have a co-GM, it does take a lot of work off your shoulders. And so any sidebars that people want, your co-GM can take them to another room, or at least field stuff while you're dealing with other things.
Oh, maybe a transitional period where
can
you have
have
a
that.
co-GM, and then, like an amoeba,
They separate.
It could happen. The other
Yeah.
thing I was thinking was what you do, which is you just sort of have a one-shot sort of thing. It's like everybody just shows up. We're going to do the one-shot game, and then like you were doing
like
with
a
your Traveler
serialized game.
Right, the serialized game, like you did with the Traveler game that Rob and I were in.
Yeah.
Right.
Which didn't.
Which didn't work out very well because I couldn't even get the 4 players I needed to run the game.
Because here's the thing that's going to happen, which is
It had like 8 or 9 players. Everyone made characters, and they're all members of the crew of a ship. It's a science fiction game.
Okay, sweet.
And it's like whoever can show up from week to week,
Yeah.
they're the ones that happen to go out and go on the adventure on whatever planet they're
Nice.
Right, which makes a lot of sense, right? Because with 13 people, at some point, people are going to get busy and can't make it.
Sure.
So those that are there, you can run your adventure for, which is, I figure, what's going to happen. But to run all 13, if they show up rapidly every week for months, I don't. There's no easy way to say, I can't do this. You're just going to have to look at them and go, you guys
I
are
can't
killing
do
me.
this.
I can't do this.
Well, best code words ever. The group has gotten so large that this isn't fun for me anymore.
Yeah, there you go.
And suddenly everyone's going to go, oh shit! We're going to lose our only GM
Yeah.
in 50 miles.
And I'm
Yeah.
not stepping up. I'm not stepping up. I don't know.
And just let them know, hey, let's start out with a co-GM.
Yeah.
And let's...
And co-GMing works
Amoeba
really,
eyes.
really well. I mean, you'd be surprised if you've never co-GM before. It's so much easier to have somebody there to like look up stuff for you, or like when you're having a sidebar with somebody, he's taking care of the fact that they're in the inn picking a fight, and then you can bring it all back. The games move faster. It alleviates pressure on you, and you'd be surprised that 2 people can handle 11 people much easier than 1.
Yes. The only caveat I would say is their preparation becomes, because it has to be more collaborative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It becomes, it's not as quick. Like when I do prep for an L5R game, I sit in front of my laptop and I and write a bunch of horse shit for 10 minutes.
You and your
I'm
co-GM
done.
have to design the world together and have to design the adventure together.
Yeah.
You can't just say, oh god, I'm having trouble with the game. Can you stop playing and come over here and help? That can't be the way that really works. Like Dave and I come up with plots for. Not granted, we only run for 6 people, but we come up with plots for Freak Show. We work this stuff out, and so that we're simpatico when the game.
But you're doing one-shots.
Nice.
We're only doing the one shot.
And when you're doing a campaign, it's like, okay, we have to
That's a whole different thing.
sit down and talk. Because when Dave and I ran the zombie
Yeah.
zombie game,
Yeah.
After the session, he and I would be on Slack, writing each other back and forth, saying, "Well, what if we do this? And where do you think they're going to go next?" And it's like, "Well, I'm thinking this way or that way. Well, what if we put this over here and that over there?" And I'm like, "Okay,
Isn't it neat having a
It
co-GM?
it is,
to bounce
but
stuff off
it does take more time.
Yeah.
It does take more time. Rather than me just sitting there going,
Right.
fuck it, that's what we're doing.
Fuck it, they're just going to argue anyway.
And to answer your question about how to broach the subject, I think you should just jump into the Discord and post a list of your top 6 players, who you like the most, and make them fight for a spot.
Holy
Put up the poll.
Yeah.
Who would you like to
it.
play with the most?
Yeah, I don't want to
6 players enter.
Yeah.
1
There
player
you go.
leaves.
That's right.
get like 3 or 4 on the bubble. Like, we'll see how you play next week. You might be put on waivers. I like
Thunderdome.
sports.
Yeah, you do.
Just sports it.
She's competitive.
Just do
Or-
that.
Apparently.
or say, hey, I have to have a co-GM.
What?
Yeah, I gotta look up. So I'll look up.
I'm sorry, what?
An NCAA tournament, a number 1
Is
seed
that a sports
apparently
thing?
just yes.
I was born deficient of the sports gene.
I know, I can tell.
This is like the first year I
It's my
didn't
physique.
go out for the Pac-12.
You're calling me fat.
Hold on. You would be amazing at curling.
I wanted to curl
Do you-
so badly.
Do you drink beer while you curl?
You can, it's Canadian.
You can drink beer during all sports.
That's true. That is actually
I was
correct.
a thrower. I did hammered. And it's hard but fun.
You can't drink while you're throwing the hammer.
To be fair,
Disagree?
to be fair,
Camelbacks are very just on the back.
I've always
over the
wanted
head.
bowling to become an Olympic sport because somebody like Stu could be standing up there
I'm a shit bowler.
with a medal. Yeah.
But I'm a
That's
shit bowler.
hurtful.
I'm a shit
You'd be good at lots of
You got a
sports.
low center of gravity.
I do have a low center of gravity, but I'm a shit bowler. I barely break like 110.
Drink more. It's like golf. The more you
That
drink, the
does
better you
not
are.
actually doesn't improve the game. I tried that; it doesn't actually help.
It makes the game longer.
Yes, it does, but makes it cheaper.
That's
to go
true.
bowling.
That's
It's true. Your
Except for the beer bill.
your per pin cost goes way down like when you go longer.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's the way I judge how I'm having fun at bowling.
Oh, yeah.
'Cause of how much it is
Right.
per pin I knock over.
We should go bowling.
Yeah.
I have a bowling ball that weighs almost as much as you do.
That's hot.
Yeah. 19-pound ball.
Have we answered this question yet?
Yes.
Heavy.
We gave good advice and bad advice, so I think it's handled.
Yeah.
Make them fight.
I think so. I think we're good.
I like making them fight too.
Yeah.
Explaining RPGs and other stuff from Sergeant Dan. Dear California Stew and the Raiders of the Lost Douche.
Hold on, that's not how I picture a sergeant sounding.
Oh, I don't think he's a retired British Army officer.
I don't think he's in the military anymore. That makes him retired.
Okay, well maybe. Dear California Stew and the Raiders of the Lost Deuce. Sergeant Dan, retired.
So good.
From the hinterlands of Johnston County, North Carolina. From the hinterlands of Johnston County, North
Oh
Carolina.
no! And now you're doing like a Kevin Spacey thing.
I'm very
like
attracted
it.
to you right now.
I'm not a little boy, so I feel pretty safe in this.
Once
Kevin
again,
Spacey.
writing to the
It's
Happy
fine.
Jacks of douchedom, I apologize for the length of this email in advance, as several episodes had my mind wandering down several paths of thought. So without further delay, drink.
I need to.
Oh my god!
It's so good.
Now turn and have an aside to the camera. Go.
What?
I want to play a House of Cards life right now. It's very good.
First, describing a role-playing game to the uninitiated.
That was almost a walk in there. I thought you were going to
First,
First. You know.
I tell them RPGs are a form of collaborative, improvised theater of the mind and entertainment that has some aspects to a movie or television series as people take on roles that would be both in front of and behind the camera.
I miss Tyler.
I know. He did such a good
He
walk.
sounds
Yeah.
like, to be fair, he sounds like walking like just normally.
He
But
does.
Everyone's got a walk-in. Everyone's got a Schwarzenegger.
Fact.
Yeah.
You have a leader, a game master, who takes on the role of producer, lead writer, and director, and you have the players who are the stars of the story and co-writers with the game master. Finally, there is a game, the mechanics used to give structure to the action within the story. The game master has the bulk of the work to perform. As not
in-
powered apocalypse games. Well, he's got to read the book. He's got to read the book,
you know the rules.
and
Yeah.
many players don't. But
Why are you looking at me? Why are you looking at me?
I'm not looking at you.
Never know.
I'm a GM and I barely read the book.
Yeah, I know. What?
Oh, 5R. the
Broke
beta
you.
from
Yeah.
Fantasy Flight Games.
It's so.
Would you ever go back?
We're thinking about it. We're going to finish out the pre-fair game
Yeah.
using the FFG system. We might. I don't know.
Okay.
Stu's not having fun.
It won't.
I know.
It won't. Well, we did an Ayujitsu duel. You know, that's the two samurai, and they stand there with their sword shield, and
Yeah.
they look at each other, and then lightning fast, and one of them falls to the ground. There's a lot of rolls. There's a lot of rules.
A lot of rolls for a lot of
Page
rolls and a lot of
flipping.
rules for something that's supposed to take like I don't know half a second.
Oh,
Right.
weird.
And in fact, in the game, it was about an hour and a half of us looking up rules.
Yes.
I don't know if it was that long, but it was a long time. It was a long time. One combat round. Well, actually, it was-
man.
it
I'd
ended,
like to
ended up being
apologize for
two combat rounds,
Yeah.
but it probably took us 45 minutes.
We thought to ourselves, well, we'll
Not
learn the
between-
rules. Whatever it is.
As
How
you go,
bad, how
yeah,
bad could
yeah.
it be?
And it's not between the whole party and a bunch of bad guys. It's between one member of the party who had separated and one other samurai, and they're meeting in the streets in the middle of the night with the snow flurries. You know,
That's beautiful.
set the scene,
Yeah.
and then rules, roll,
Because it's a beta. Not only, oh no, wait, these rules don't mean anything anymore. We actually have to look at these rules. So now you're going back and forth, and then flipping pages to just.
And I don't blame them for that,
No.
because having to retypeset an entire book every time you have revisions.
Oh hell no.
No, you
Oh,
can't
no,
do
no,
that.
no.
You can't expect them to do that because that's expensive.
Then the
You gotta-
final's never going to come out.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
Sorry.
Game master.
Game Master work.
As producer.
As a producer, he decides on genre, setting, main antagonists, extras, and the rule setting, usually discussed with the players first, and any other decisions for the foundation of the story being told. As lead writer, he is responsible for the setting, situating the scenes, exposition when needed, and the dialogue for all the characters not controlled by the players. As director, he does not force players to perform to his ideal of what and where he thinks the story should be, but directs and redirects the setting, extras, and antagonists in reaction to the players' molding of the story by their dialogue and actions, as well as the unforeseen consequences of the game mechanics. Almost one whole sentence.
Yes.
Nailed it. It's a concise
It is.
explanation.
This is true for non-hippie games.
He could have said it. What he
There's
could
a
have said
lot
was-
of this stuff that, as a GM, you don't do. A lot of Powered by the Apocalypse stuff, you don't do a lot of this stuff on your own.
Yeah.
You're ultimately responsible for some of it.
Yes, some of it, yes, but not all of it.
I still think it's accurate.
you don't come up with a set.
I fundamentally disagree with the way he's portraying it, but I still think it's
Okay.
accurate.
I think it's a safe thing to do with people who don't understand how those games work. Like if you're like, yeah, like sometimes I do the work, but sometimes you do it too. Like that's very intimidating to like enter into. So if you
That's
say
true.
like,
That's true.
think of your favorite character in fiction.
Yeah.
Now like be that character, and I'm going to be the world around you, giving you like stimuli, and you respond however you want. And there's rules that will help you like explain mechanically how to do the thing you want, and like everyone at the table is on your team and there to help you be the hero that you like in fiction. And
That
then
makes
don't
me
regret
interested in RPGs.
it. Yeah.
Sure.
Respectfully, Sergeant Dan's doesn't.
Okay.
Actually scares me away.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's crunchy, maybe.
He's a
you don't
military
crunchy
man,
people.
you know. He was trying to cover all bases.
Yeah.
It was very, very, every boilerplate sort of.
See,
of thing
I always
laid out.
said it's like a theater game with rules.
Yeah.
Being in
If you know what a
Hollywood,
theater game is.
being in Hollywood, and most people are very media savvy. This explanation does make sense because he does continue on.
Yeah, absolutely.
The players are the lead actors and stars. Sometimes individuals will be in the leading roles, and other times they will be in a supporting role. Unlike movies and television shows, these actors have no script, so it's like Spinal Tap, or Best in Show,
Or Groundlings.
A Mighty Wind.
Or anything Christopher
Which-
Guest has done, I guess.
I just rewatched A Mighty Wind, and I can't remember her name.
He's a big fan.
Yeah.
But the woman who plays the wife of the head of the PR firm, what is her name? I can't remember. She's the one who's talking to what is it, Mitch and Mickey? When the veils
I know Mitch and
of
Mickey.
dreams. Okay, when Mickey's husband he's a miniature or a model train nut.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I've seen
they're at a
that. I love
party, and he walks up to this woman and says, "Well, yeah, I'm very much into model trains, sort of a nut about it." And says, "Oh, thank goodness for the tiny trains, because if it wasn't for them, they wouldn't have had the idea for the big trains."
Big, tall blonde.
She's not a blonde in this one, but yes, she's.
Yeah.
She was also in Best in Show, where she was the
Yeah,
like
she owned the dog, like
she
the
owned
fancy
the
dog.
lesbian handler.
Yeah.
Yes, that's her.
She's also the Bend and Snap from Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
I didn't-
Like,
Yes,
works-
yeah.
You haven't seen
She works all the time.
Was that the thing that like? Sorry, I girled too hard.
would-
Room of dicks. It's a good movie.
How was the Broadway show?
It's Jennifer.
Amazing, actually. I have seen it.
It's Jennifer something.
She kills
Yeah,
me.
she's
Strong.
wonderful.
Kills me.
She does that wonderful weird ditzy. I don't know. It's a whole thing. She's
But
got
she
the
has
whole
this
thing.
weird ass like Central European accent in this movie, and I'm like, what the hell is she doing?
Yeah.
Anyway,
She's groundling trained. So.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah.
Okay.
She came from that whole throw it on the wall and see what sticks thing.
they are co-writers.
Sorry, it was getting weird.
As their action and dialogue will shape and change the story. As part of their co-writing responsibility, players are to bring background and motivation to the character they have created or were given by the game master. This is to give depth to the story and bring a better entertaining experience for everyone. Finally, we have the game elements of the role-playing game. Role-playing game! When the story dictates that an outcome is in doubt, the mechanics of the game bring the wonder of consistency or surprise.
The wonder of consistency.
That's how I feel about
Let's
pudding.
think about that for a moment. Nah, that's not the role-playing games I play.
No, you have surprise. That's not surprise, though.
Amongst
It's the
my bags of tricks, as the element of surprise is well, carry on.
Does the player's knight see the queen flirting with him? Does the player's police detective shoot the gangster who is robbing the bank? Does the player's superhero fly fast enough and have the strength to stop the school bus from going over the cliff? This helps drive the story in ways hoped for or unseen by both the game master and players. It helps to drive the engine of action-reaction forward to bring tension to heighten the entertainment experience. I hope this helps people who are to be better ambassadors of our hobby. I think it needs to be more of an elevator pitch.
Yeah.
That's I think that's my fundamental.
Almost
issue.
high Gygaxian here in his covering of all the bases here. You can basically say the game master is.
He's not using passive voice, though.
You're right.
Gygax uses passive.
You're right. I said almost.
Okay.
Isn't it future passive?
It's like a pigeon Gygax. You're fine.
He needs an editor, is what he needs to like put this down in one sentence.
It's all good.
I like Sergeant Dan. He's written in for years.
Yes.
And I like what he's trying to do here. To your point, the editor is super important, but also I think that if he's sitting across from the table and he's breaking this all down, I am no longer interested in RPGs. Right? Like, this explanation bores me.
It's long.
Yeah.
It is a long explanation.
But it's also too detailed, right?
Yeah.
You're going into too much minutia
This
at that point.
This is like the pamphlet after you've given the elevator pitch. You give the elevator pitch. Oh, you're interested? Well, here's some more information if you'd like to.
Yeah,
Well,
this is the drinking deep dive. Like, no, let me explain now, though.
Yeah, this entire like 3 or 4 paragraphs is what I would slowly go through the entirety of the game that they're playing once I have them at the table.
Yeah.
You actually kind of pitch stuff for a living.
A little bit.
So you actually like. So how do you hook somebody? Do you make it long and complicated, or what's
Super
the deal?
short, super quick.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. I mean, kind of like me. But I just asked my wife.
So this first paragraph, how would you sum that up?
Well, no. So the very first paragraph, I tell them RPGs are a form of collaborative, improvised theater of the mind, entertainment that has some aspects of a movie or a TV series, as people take on a role that would be both in front of and behind the camera. Playing an RPG is just like acting as if you were a character. If you want to be a character and you want to get into that character's mindset and how they would react to situations, that's like playing an RPG. You roll dice to figure out what kind of issues may arise or how they accomplish things, but that's pretty much it. It's you getting into a character.
I don't want to bag on Sergeant Dan
I'm not.
because he's actually trying to bring people into the hobby.
Yeah. Stop
Yeah.
shitting on Sergeant Dan. I'm just kidding.
But
Only
It
with
felt fun
consent.
to dogpile on you.
Only with consent.
Oh, that's important.
Yeah.
our hobby has been
Maligned.
with pedantic people, with various stereotypes and such, and I think it's our job to try to make it cool, fresh, hip, socially acceptable.
Is that our
It's
job?
more,
Socially
it's more my
unawkward.
job out of the people at the table. I got you.
So I always
That's true. You do have a backwards hat on. You are the hippest.
Yeah, he is.
You did it. That was my.
Well, I'm wearing.
He is the guy who looks like Limp
Oh,
Bizkit.
you don't have your video game.
I didn't put it on.
See?
And I took my glasses off. You have no idea I'm a nerd right now.
What are you doing?
What am I? I just wandered into the back. It was raining outside. It's dry in
She
here.
took her glasses off. She doesn't know where she is.
Yeah. That's why I couldn't read that fucking question. Do you know how long this eyeliner took? I'm like, you will see it.
I can't see anything.
I'm blind, but I hope I look okay.
But I always try to pitch
Priorities.
RPG games as hip as I can. It's easier now that video games have been
Yes,
have taken
absolutely.
hold, and oftentimes I use video game terms and use video games as I was like. So let's say you're playing Fallout. That's what we try to do. Except that instead of the computer telling you what to do, we have a person behind the screen that is
just a
throwing
bunch
the
of
mutants and stuff at you
repetitive
and
side
setting up
quests?
the quest. Yeah, and then people go,
Cool.
"Oh, that's cool," and they kind of get it. It's a shorthand for me because video games are so prevalent. Back in the day when we were starting, video games were all text-based, and they were very long.
Yeah. I mean, I think again, I see where he's coming from, and I don't. When I said I fundamentally disagree with his portrayal, I think it's just the level of depth that he went into. That if I'm sitting across from the table, I disagree about how it would be approached. I think that he's hit on some very key aspects of it.
He's not wrong.
That hopefully this helps give other people the idea about how to approach it. It's just not the way I would do it.
I like that he's promoting the hobby, and I
Absolutely.
like that he's got the archetypes now. He knows. Here's
this
what the
is-
GM does. Here's what they do.
Here's a question for Sergeant Dan.
Okay.
Using this pitch specifically, how successful has it been?
He's recruited
We
so many
await your
people
answer.
to games and the Navy. I'm gonna go with
Marines.
Navy.
He's a Marine.
I think he's a Marine.
I pre-read.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he's
he's
a
a
Marine.
Marine.
He's a Marine.
Which technically makes him part of the Navy.
He does.
And that would get me punched by most
Never
Marines.
confuse them.
they-
My mom's gonna fight me when I go home.
They fall
Both
under.
parents.
the Secretary of the Navy.
No, I understand that, but
Done.
don't.
Maybe if you were a real branch of the military, you'd be your own secretary.
Well, now I have to fight you so my mom doesn't fuck your shit up. Like,
My brother went to
hoorah,
West
here we go. Yeah.
So,
Sweet.
my other brother was in the
And
Navy.
isn't Marine World
Yeah.
underwater anyway? I mean, Marine.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
Marines
I've
are-
None of them can swim. Have you seen them with all that gear?
Yeah.
Shit.
How did the name Marine come up, by the way?
It's actually an acronym. Muscles are required. Intelligence not essential.
She just actually
Facts.
does too, and she doesn't have her glasses, so she couldn't.
I hope I spelled that right. I didn't put my glasses
It's okay,
on.
Marines wouldn't know.
Yeah, exactly. Can't tell.
You know what?
You don't know how to find me. I play roleplay games in the dark in my house.
I am gonna get my ass
sure
beat.
you?
You're gonna find like the most dangerous
Yes.
people on the planet.
I'm
Yep.
not smart. oh, hold on. They're not Navy SEAls.
Ooh.
Sorry.
I really hope Sergeant Dan can't afford a plane ticket to California.
Sergeant Dan, thank you very much for your service.
I got your backup, man.
I
if
do
you wanna
appreciate
make
it.
some-
If you come to
I
LA,
definitely
we'll give you his
appreciate it.
address just so you don't hunt
Just
us
don't let
down.
him get a head start on you because he can run forever.
Clearly,
You got to catch him in those first
we'll
100
send him a bunch
meters.
of Skechers first so that you can catch him.
Once he unwinds, he's gone. It's fast. But I
I
do.
would have made it if my shoes hadn't fallen apart.
Yeah,
Curse
exactly.
these Skechers.
I do like using film as the analogy. Like that's the one I tend to go with more often. Like I play video games, but my fundamental understanding is film, and just using fiction in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's the fiction you grew up with? What were the characters that you like? What were the books and movies and TV shows and
Yes.
games that you imagined yourself in? Now knowing that like there's an easy to understand skeleton frame to help you like make choices in a world. Like come and sit down with other people. And I'm gonna talk you, well, if I'm the GM, like, I'm gonna talk you through an adventure and just do whatever you feel and we'll figure out the rules and the roles for it as we go. Cause like, I think the barrier for entry, like the reason I didn't play D&D for forever was because I was like, I don't wanna learn a whole
Because you were
skill
playing
set.
sports.
I mean, that too. I was just very tired
You
all
weren't
through
allowed to
high
play
school.
D&D.
You were
I
playing sports.
wasn't.
You didn't need to hang out with
I was in
nerds.
the geek closet forever. But yeah, I just felt like a lot of things to have to learn, and it felt like so like cliquish and insular. So if you describe it simply as like I love the phrase collaborative storytelling. Like
Yeah.
it's 2 words that describes it. Like you're telling a story as a group,
Yep.
and we
Yeah.
all make choices, and like
I use that a lot,
impose
too.
anything external to help it.
And most
go
intelligent
in
people,
a
when you say
direction.
collaborative storytelling, they go, "Oh,
Yeah, like everyone's got a story.
Yeah.
and everyone like has lived in their head at some point in their life. So like, come
See,
hang out with friends.
that's funny though because maybe it's just I'm used to phrasing things differently that are a little more simplistic. Collaborative storytelling
those
isn't
too many
something.
syllables?
A little bit.
And he deals with people that deal with this stuff.
But basically the way I do it is that you're telling a story together, which means the exact same thing as
Yeah.
collaborative storytelling, but it doesn't have the air of
The buzzword kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Like the niche, like, hey, this is cool, this is the new hotness, right? It's basically breaking it down to, I wouldn't say the lowest common denominator, but breaking your language down.
Small words.
And being very casual.
But that's my
casual
shibboleth.
language.
If you don't understand the phrase collaborative storytelling, you are too dumb to play at my table.
Oh, but I like
Kick rock!
I
A
like
litmus test.
I
Yeah.
like dumb people playing at the table because it's entertaining.
Yeah, how you get your barbarians.
Point. So again, I'm curious to see how many people that he's gotten with this. I do like the film thing, to your point, and to Dan's point, and I do like his examples. Like, how would you deal with things? And I
Yeah.
think he hit the nail on the head with asking questions, and I would have started by asking questions. Like you said, like, what's your favorite, fiction? Who do you see? What TV show do you really like? What movies do you really like? And getting involved in that and be like, okay, would you have ended up with Ross instead of going to Paris with the baby?
Yeah.
Friends reference. But it's getting those choices.
The 90s want their reference back.
Oh, they
Was it the
can't.
90s? Was it the 90s?
It was the 90s.
That was the
It
best
was the
part of
90s.
like
But the best part is, it's still on TBS, Comedy Central, and probably Nick
All
at Night
channels.
every night.
And
Yeah.
you can stream it all on Netflix.
Yeah.
too.
truth.
Gina watches it all the time. Still.
Really? I've never
Still.
seen an episode of Friends.
That's cool.
Not one.
It's whatever.
It's now a point of
It's all right.
pride.
weren't
I won't watch
born.
him. What? Stop! You have no idea how old I am. I'm somewhere between like a toddler and Oprah. You don't know. It's
To
fine.
be fair, Gilligan's Island was on before we were born, and we
I've seen
watched
every
all of those
episode.
That's true.
hundreds
That's
of
true.
times. So.
That's
The Harlem
true.
Globetrotter episodes were still my favorite.
They got so close to getting off the island.
So yeah,
There's more to
I
this
like what
email,
you're
though.
saying.
There is a lot more to this email.
Oh, it's Jib-esque.
Second, women at all levels of the RPG hobby and cosplay drink.
Just me? I don't understand.
hold on.
I couldn't tell if it was a direct.
I'm sorry, there was no comma.
Do you want another water?
No, I'm so good.
I'll take that
This
one.
one, it's so fizzy.
It's so.
You know what? Actually, when I because I discovered this beer has 2.6 grams of carbs per can.
That's the only reason I could drink it. Keto.
Right. Back when I was on Atkins,
Yeah.
this is what I would drink, and
And
a
get shattered.
No, because doesn't have a lot of alcohol. But a friend bought me a bottle of what's called beer schnapps, and it's made in by Sierra Nevada, and they take Sierra Nevada Pale Ale and they distill it.
Ooh.
So it's
already out.
by itself, it's horrible because it's a hops flavored liqueur.
It's a
Oh,
beer
that's a
liqueur,
nightmare.
Yeah. It is. It
But-
kind of goes.
But you take a shot of it
out of
and
the bottle.
pour it into one of these.
Oh, and then you turn this into a beer. I get it.
Then suddenly
Got
it's a little more
Got it.
body.
It's
a
like
little more
Gatorade
force.
powder.
Michelob
Exactly.
Ultra, just add beer.
Yes.
Beer schnapps. You have to
There
have
you
beer
go.
schnapps.
This is very good.
It's just like beer. You just need to add a little beer to it.
I just want to take a point of reference, and this is a 4-pager. This is a
This is a
4-page
long email.
email.
Nice.
I'll read this next section and someone
love
can read the last.
Just-
one.
We'll tag out.
I love
yeah.
it.
I like it.
It is very Jib-esque.
It is. Although when Jib wrote emails, we actually used a smaller point size. We did not
okay.
use 12 point. We were using, I think, 10 point back then.
Gross.
Actually.
I would like Jib to write in again.
That was back when I had younger eyes. In another 5 years, we're going to like. And then I went to the
Perfect,
thing
yeah.
and
Nice. I like it.
y'all and other niche media outlets have talked about women in the gaming industry and enjoying the hobby in general. For those mouth breathers wanting the game hobby to be a he-man woman haters club, just shut up and get back in your mom's basement.
Harumph.
Women at the executive and design level of game companies, women are. He left,
I know,
out,
he
he
left
left
out-
out a noun.
yes, he
a
did.
verb.
A verb.
Left out a verb.
Could even be
A to be
adjective.
verb. Women are at the executive and design levels of gaming companies, as well as women playing the games that are coming out now, is great. Oh, see, I was wrong.
It was just poor sentence structure.
It was a portion of the story.
That's okay.
That's
all
right.
You're okay,
Women are
We've
not.
concluded that Sergeant Dan needs an editor, but carry on.
That's all right.
I fuck up tweets all the time. You're
Yeah,
fine,
that's only
dude. This is
140
like,
well,
yeah.
260 now.
Yeah, it's 260. I can't fuck with 260. That's too much. It's a lot of pressure.
I don't fuck on that.
It should be 1,000 characters.
No,
No.
that's
No.
Sergeant Dan's emails now. I don't have that kind
It's
of
not more than
time.
1,000 characters. Women are not men. I want a reference. I want proof. No. They don't think or act like men. Thank God. They are bringing a new perspective to the hobby, especially to RPGs. It is awesome and refreshing. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Now I know I'm here to receive this praise. You're welcome.
I am 48, heading on 49 years old. You're young. You're younger than at least 2 people here. I've been gaming. Not you. I wasn't talking about you.
He's younger than me.
Okay, I know.
You're
You're
younger
older than me.
Yeah,
I want to know how old everyone is now.
I'm 51.
Cool.
I'm 52.
I'm 40.
I will never tell you.
A lady never tells. She shan't tell you it.
Never.
It's not ladylike.
But you're not the oldest person here.
No.
I didn't. Yeah.
She's the youngest person here. We know that.
If that was the case, that means you've been drinking blood and.
Just Elizabeth Bathory. Just Blood of Virgins. And a loofah. Like
Well,
a
that's
very
why
strong
that's why
loofah.
you're into RPGs. Where do
Exactly.
you meet your virgins?
Thank you. I told you about that game with the 11 girls. It didn't go on very long because I bathed in them. And I took
How
their
did you
strength and their dice.
How did you play sports and still know the Elizabeth Bathory thing? You know, how did that go over well?
I was an only child, so I read a lot
A
of
lot.
books.
Yeah, okay.
That was a sad
That's
child.
so weird.
I didn't have friends.
Yeah.
Just read a lot. Oliver Twist, best friend.
It was more of a yeah, Oliver Twist is good.
See, I hate
Can I have some
Dickens.
more references? Because
You
I
hate
ran
Dickens?
Oh,
out.
I can't stand Dickens.
You know,
he and the Bronte sisters need to go jump in a lake.
well, to
I
be
mean,
fair-
anyone
to
that
be fair,
writes for like per word,
that's
dollar
the
per
thing.
word, yeah.
I love Dickens,
Yeah.
but he was paid by the word.
Purple
So.
prose.
Maybe Sergeant Dan was too.
Ooh.
I like this
Maybe.
email. I'm just
Maybe.
talking shit, dude.
Wait,
Could've
go back to
fooled
the
me.
part where I'm being praised for
Okay.
playing games with you.
We'll get to that.
I've been gaming since I was 10 years old. In those teenage years, for me and other nerdy, awkward boys, RPGs gave us the means to be the cool heroes.
Yes.
Most of us were introverted, shy, especially around girls. Our first experience of women in game was that guy who played the female character.
Yep.
Yeah.
He would play her as a slut, not a
Yeah.
whore. Whores were paid for services rendered.
Right.
He would invariably use his character's female woo-ha
Hoo-ha.
as a
It's
flesh pocket to hide weapons or the MacGuffin.
That is technically like a
Fact.
vagina means sheath. So if you're not storing at least like a small like switchblade, then you're
Well, I
just doing
don't know if
vaginas
it's
wrong.
that small. I think
If you see me keep shifting, there's a reason. If this
There's a,
goes sideways,
friggin-
I'm winning that fight.
Then you're doing vaginas wrong. is all I got from that.
Yeah.
saying.
Yep.
Fair. All right.
You got the important part.
Noted. Thank you for this email, Sergeant Dan. This is the best.
Fortunately for myself and 99% of the other guys playing RPGs, we
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Switchblade vagina would be or vagina switchblade would be a
Please send
great
your hate
band.
mail to me, and I'll forward
It's my
it. to her.
improv group name.
I'm sorry.
and other guys playing RPGs, we did mature and gain confidence. We learned how to talk to women and not be flustered or embarrassed most of the time. I remember my first game with an actual girl at the table. It was 1988 in the Marine Corps. The first game there was two girls who played role playing games when I was in high school.
Nice.
There's something we have to in the,
Joanne and Kristen.
in the
Facebook friends with me still.
full confessione here. When we started this podcast, Stu and I had we could count on one hand the amount of women that we had played with.
Oh yeah,
And
you
most
can
of
count
them-
on one hand the amount of
Phrasing.
women who would show up to gaming conventions.
And,
Yeah.
and yes, it's true. When the gaming cons were going on, there weren't a lot of women or children. It was always sort of old men. And the women that showed up at the
Suspenders.
yeah, and the women
Rainbow.
that showed up at our games back when I was playing were usually girlfriends. And then when
Yep.
they broke up, they didn't show up anymore, which kind of makes sense. But I can say in 3-4 years ago, the game cons exploded with female gaming play. Female
Oh, yeah.
gamers.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and I don't
Remarkable
Maybe
difference.
longer ago than that.
I think it was longer,
It's
but it was a remarkable
astonishing.
difference.
All of a sudden, it was like somebody opened a door and all these women are around, and I can't tell you how awesome it is, or even that it's a good thing or a bad thing or a different thing. It just is all of a sudden, it's like it's always been there, and why shouldn't it have been?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the big thing that happened was those the girlfriends that broke up and were like, all right, fuck this crew, I'm out. They tried to start their own games. And there were these small insular pockets of, girls forming games and, figuring out for themselves and not necessarily feeling comfortable, going out and being like, okay, I'm going to go find, a public game at, a friendly, neighborhood gaming store. But, all those pockets happened, and then the internet made things better, and you found other girlfriends that were like, holy shit, have you been playing games too? Yeah, we have a group. We play Magic every week. It's called Magic the Gathering. You should come over.
Do you think Magic
Yeah.
was a good gateway for everybody? It made it safe to be a nerd.
Yeah, just the little easy entry things. I don't know, Settlers of Catan. The moment you got out of Milton Bradley bullshit. No shade
Yeah.
to Milton Bradley. Fuck Monopoly forever.
Ooh, I love Monopoly.
Hey, I could roleplay Monopoly.
Fuck Monopoly.
Yeah, dude, I will play the shit out of that dog.
Yeah.
I grew up with 2 Marine parents, and I just cried every time I lost because they were like, "We're gonna we respect you and make you stronger." And I'm
But
like,
you're
"You're not
learning all
Southern."
But it worked.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but fuck that game forever.
I mean, it scarred you, but it worked.
soon. It's still too soon. But yeah,
It's a trigger warning, Monopoly. Let's not go there anymore.
Slowly I turn, inch by inch, step by step.
But yeah, knowing that girls are pack animals, once you realize you had a flock big enough to go to a convention and be like, all right, I've got my girl herd, let's go and try this, and it became a lot easier to see women in gaming and Twitch and
A lot of things have
YouTube,
happened, I
and it
think.
became a lot easier.
We maybe we could do a whole roll thing on it, but we have to be very careful about how we do it. But video games helps a lot.
100%.
For sure.
I think it somewhere along the line.
I
it
think
became
I think Vampire the Masquerade helped a lot. too.
All the girls in high school were all playing Vampire.
somewhere along the line it became acceptable and okay and cool to be smart and intelligent and nerdy, because I know when I was going to school, if you were a smart woman, you were
Ostracized.
ostracized and
Right.
shunned, and they
And if
always
you're a
played
smart guy, you
dumb
get shoved in the locker.
Yeah.
as well.
Yes.
So somewhere along the line,
That's why you hide as a jock all through high school.
there was a
and
paradigm
don't tell anyone how much you love Uncanny X-Men.
I had
Say
2
nothing.
varsity.
Yeah.
Still got my ass kicked.
Fuck! Yeah, it's
Is
just
Uncanny
it's a
X-Men? Is Uncanny X-Men the Joss Whedon one?
That was astonishing.
Astonishing.
Yeah, it
But-
was the 90s, right? The
Yeah.
mid-90s was the Uncanny X-Men.
Yeah,
Okay,
that was like the cartoon with the Storm that was like in a white stupid outfit and
Yeah.
like everyone had big
Ba-doodle-doo.
dynasty hair.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah,
The cartoon.
It was good.
Yeah,
not the comic.
but
No,
I was
but there was
no,
the
I was
comic-
brought in on the comics.
The comic was the same
Oh,
name.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I would go to Frankensons
Oh,
like
yeah.
every
That
week
was
as
the
a kid.
that
That was
was
my
the
shit.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
But I got old enough to be like, this is don't tell people.
Whatever you do, I got to show up to
Stay
volleyball
quiet.
practice tonight.
Exactly.
Don't tell anybody I'm reading comics.
Just dribble balls whenever anyone looks at you. Oh God.
So, all right. Now that we're on this,
Yeah,
what
but-
was the paradigm shift? When did you come out as a geek?
I came out as a geek with like anime and like comics and all the like nerdy stuff I liked probably 5 or 10 years after or like before I got into like games because I'm not gonna lie, I rode in on my girlfriend kick. Like
Yeah?
my guy loves board games and I was like, oh no, because Monopoly is still in my head. I'm like, I don't want
Still themes of
any of
paradise.
that.
Just
She's like
sit
a
there and
shake.
Thing. Yeah.
Anytime she sees a monocle, it's
Ah,
just,
fuck! I hate dice. Just throw dice on the ground. And then like his like game crew that I was like kind of friends with too was like, well, let's make a D&D or like a D&D group. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And they're like, oh, be a healer, like be a cleric.
Oh no, they made you.
They made me the healer. I literally have a Lucio hoodie right now because when they got me into video games, they were like, be the healer, because girlfriend tropes are true.
well, hold on. When I joined my first D&D game,
Yeah.
they told me to be the healer.
yeah, right?
Yeah.
You always bring the
That's
newbie
'cause
and you're
no one
like,
wants to
just
be the
stand in the
healer.
back.
I
Yeah.
like being the healer now.
It took me 2 sessions before I was like, fuck that. I was like multi-class in a warlock, and I'm like, now I this doesn't make sense, but I love this game more than all of you. And I wrestled that game away from the group.
Clerk and the warlock.
It's so stupid.
And now they're all scared. Can you heal me? They'll there's a price.
No. Yeah.
Never mind. I'll just bleed out.
You've
Yeah.
been touched by a demon.
Good.
That's what I figured.
I had to like check. I was like, do I even have healing anymore? Nah, probably
Nah.
not. It's cool.
I
One-
could summon a
1d4.
demon to
yeah.
kill you, but
Healing word. Level 1. I need all of these for fireball. So,
Oh.
yeah.
all right.
Fortunately, for
Sorry,
myself,
keep reading.
there's more. I gotta make it through.
Where the hell?
Fortunately for myself and 99% of other guys playing RPGs, we did mature and gain confidence. Oh, I already read this.
Yep.
I remember my first game with an actual girl at the table. It was 1988 in the Marine Corps at the Communications and Electronics School at 29 Palms, California.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, he's been to California. That means he's going to beat my ass.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
close.
Stu said all that stuff about you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't look at the
He's
video.
throwing his voice.
Yeah, I'm the dummy on Rob's lap.
With consent. It's okay.
Get in line.
He ain't lying.
Dagon.
Janet played a paladin, which also have healing powers,
Yeah, there you go.
as we cleared the Temple of Elemental Evil.
Pretty badass, though.
She was an awesome player and person. It was a great step in maturity for me out of teenage awkwardness into adulthood. Now to deal with that 1% and cosplayers. Drink.
Uh-oh. You're going to talk about cosplayers.
No, he's going to talk about the 1% of people who don't, who are...
I
Oh,
read
I'm
the
sorry.
email
Okay,
in
all right,
advance.
all
I'm
right.
just saying, like, as someone who's dressed up like the one time, I'm very lazy. We can tell you. I'm a hypothetical cosplayer. Yeah. All right.
No,
go ahead.
I feel like we need to make sure that this is a story he's telling here. This next paragraph.
Do you want to trade out?
No, this is,
I will trade
this is
out.
Stu's story.
No, go ahead. Yeah,
Yeah.
you go.
So I will take the hit for this. For those of you that don't like the way I read this. From my own experience at a con a couple of years ago, I was between games and headed to the dealer's room, and on my way I saw a young, attractive woman dressed in a chainmail bikini.
Should I play porn music?
The rain's doing it for you.
She was of
Excited.
mixed Caucasian, East Asian, Pacific Islander extraction. Her long black hair, deep brown eyes. She had a thin tone, athletic 5'5" frame. Her cleavage wonderfully accented by the metal and cloth of her costume. Her legs were strong and graceful as they traveled from her
This is a
ankle
forum email.
to the thin strap of metal and cloth at the bottom half of her bikini of exposed flawless skin of her abs and the lovely dimple of her belly button made its way to a tasteful side boob at the bottom of the bikini top.
Tasteful Side Boob, also good name for a band or improv group.
Yeah, that's good.
I'll be in
hold
my
on. Like,
bunk.
my problem is, like, if we're gonna dig into this, because he gave us such good detail. Tasteful side boob at the bottom of the bikini, that is under boob.
That's
That's
under
not
boob.
side
That's
boob.
It's
clearly
not
under
side
boob.
boob.
Yeah,
It's
that's
under boob.
Yeah, it says under.
It's a different, different
Can we
plate.
not discuss this? Because
I'm not.
I'm going to have to go to my bunk if we're going to keep this up.
All right, Jane, keep going.
My mind raced, my heart, as I wished I was 20 years younger and 100 pounds lighter. We made
Don't we
eye
all?
contact. And she gave me a look of disgust. Well, I can understand the look I got. What young woman wants to make eye contact with an overweight mid-40s man with a look of longing in his eyes? Still, the only reason I did not speak to her about her reaction to me was I was called by a friend to help with something in the dealer's room. Well, no one deserves the Harvey Weinstein treatment. If anyone, guy or girl, dresses in a sexually provocative manner, expect reactions to be provoked. Both the reactions you like and the reactions you dislike. Be prepared for both. Be as gracious to the unflattering reactions you get. Use the same graciousness as to the complimentary attention you like and are looking for. If graciousness fails and the attention becomes unwanted, get help. All the young lady had to do with me was be aloof and ignore my gaze. She did not have to look at me as a lesser human being because of my weight and age, which she found unattractive. Hell, if anyone else was trying to Harvey Weinstein on her, I would have been one of the first to defend her, even after the look she gave me. Now, if I've stirred the pot of shit, let's move on. We're going to move on.
No.
I will
not
sit
moving.
here and go, boys, go.
I wish Kimmy were here.
Mm-hmm.
As
You are ascribing, by one glance, to her all of your own feelings of inadequacy.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with her.
True.
It has everything to do with you
True.
and your own self-esteem. I don't mean to sound like I've taken 4 years of therapy, but I've had 4 years of therapy. And this, to me, this is your issue, not hers. Who knows? Maybe someone near you farted and she smelled it.
Yeah, it might
I mean,
not.
there's a million things that could have happened
I just read an
that
article.
may have had nothing to do
Just
with
read an
that.
article recently that says that you can't tell what somebody's feeling by looking at them.
Oh, no.
no.
People ascribe or associate things that they're thinking, and they project their emotions onto a look. It could simply be a help me look, and you
And-
thought it was disgust. Or
And
it
we
could have
do,
been-
we do that. That's actually a survival mechanism.
Yes,
in
it makes
humans,
sense. Why we do it.
pareidolia, I think
Yeah.
that's the term for it. It's the ability to create connections and make assumptions based on inadequate information in order to live.
But it's
Yeah.
it's a
you hear,
ballpark at best.
you hear
Yeah.
you hear the snap of a twig in the middle of the forest. Oh, it's got to be a
It's a
tiger.
bear,
I'm going to
yeah.
run. Right?
Right.
Why is there a tiger in the forest? That's what I really want to know.
Whatever.
I know.
Don't
I
care.
get it, I get it.
It doesn't matter. That says your body. You're running, and
yeah.
then you
Yes.
go. Why is there a tiger in the forest? But
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You've already taken off.
Exactly.
Yes, 100%.
Right.
And as a stand-in for Kimmy, I have done some cosplaying in my day, and like one of the biggest things I did, I was actually in Playboy. I was part of the Star Wars Bunnies group. I was
Oh,
a
very
stormtrooper.
Can you
Really?
Can you tell us
Very
which
cool.
issue that was?
Yeah, it was online. It was online.
Can you
So
tell
we
me
went
where-
to
Way back machine. Way back machine.
Archive.org.
sweet.
You guys aren't helping.
So yeah, as someone who dressed up in an obviously sexual manner at a Star Wars convention, and then walked around going like, "Oh, this is gaining me sexual attention." Guess I didn't super think about that.
You're
when I was
right,
like painting
right.
my ears. Cool, because I don't cosplay enough to like be used to that as a thing. Because
Right.
normally I go to cons and I'm just like, I'm in my hoodie. Like, let's go run and get into like
Right.
18 lines for 19 hours.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, don't worry so much. Like in general, don't worry so much about like your reaction. Like I don't know if this is gonna be kind of rude, but like mostly cosplayers don't see the people that are around them. Like
No.
after a while,
It's like being on stage.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things where you're like, there is so much attention that you generally like you
look
just
at
kind
the
of block
cameras,
it
you
out.
pose
Filter it out.
You're
Yeah.
you're
Right.
you were probably being looked through, And if she was wearing a chainmail bikini, she was fucking uncomfortable and was probably like, I wish I could sit down.
Yeah, she's sucking in her stomach.
Exactly.
And trying not to fart.
Yeah, that. And she's like, I haven't eaten in maybe 3 days. I would love just a food and a chair. And, like, it's hard being on all the time. And it's unfortunate that, like, you caught a glimpse when she maybe wasn't being, like,
You
her,
actually caught some
best.
vulnerability where she was like, oh my God, I'm so painful. And
Exactly.
it wasn't
Why do
true.
I do this?
Exactly. And as much as I want to say, like, I'm sure if you talk to her, it would be a weird misunderstanding, and she probably didn't think or feel that way unless you were, like, doing, like, a full Tex Avery, like, wolf with the tongue.
Yeah, just
Like a zoot
rolling
suit.
down,
Like
yeah.
a
Wooga, wooga.
But the biggest thing I want to take away from that is you
I
said
like
that you were
her.
going to go and
she
talk
dropped
to
a
her.
Tex Avery reference.
Yeah, right? I know, like you said in there, that you would have you didn't speak to her because her friend called you away. Like, don't expect or require justifications for behavior if it's something you don't like. And I know that, like, you were like, that was weird, and maybe there's a chance to, like, make it better so I can walk away from this interaction better, but, like, you don't deserve that. And, like, you just have to understand that, like, she is just living a life, and, like, if you enjoyed, and you clearly do because you have a very good memory of this moment, like, you had the interaction, try not to, like, think about or assume anything about her intention when you guys made eye contact, and, like, you don't have to talk to her to clarify it. Like, it was just 2 ships passing in the night, and one of those ships probably had to fart. Like, you're good.
And you don't know which one.
No.
Exactly. You might both have.
Or one of them already had.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she was like, did I get away with that?
Here-
Does it stick in the chainmail?
No, it's gas.
Yeah.
It goes right through. I've tried.
Exactly.
The one thing I noticed with this, and it just may have been exposition, so I don't want to place judgment, but the amount of detail provided was gleaned from more than a glance.
I think it was all exposition for dramatic
I
purposes.
certainly hope so.
Because
I certainly hope so.
The way I read it was supposedly overly.
Yeah.
was
That's
purple prose.
how I.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
prose.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yes.
totally grok what you're picking up, and like
Yeah.
every cosplayer assumes that, like, yeah, there's someone that you're like, oh,
You can
know
feel
what?
the eyes.
yeah,
on it.
you're like, you can hear yourself being deposited into a spank bank, and you're like,
There's
that's a thing I'm gonna live with. Oh well,
Well, that
take a photo.
depending on how long it's been, you
somebody
can have
happy.
a really
Yeah.
good memory.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's entire websites devoted to this. I mean,
Yeah.
the bottom line is, I mean, if you're going to dress as Gamera, there's a physicality, there's a costume that's very revealing. Even Wonder Woman.
Gamera? Gamera isn't that the turtle?
Gamora. Sorry. Ugh. Gamora is what I wanted to say.
You know, I grew up with Gamera because I didn't have an actual like emphasis
Yeah,
on the
you're good.
syllable. as
Gamera was a
kid.
turtle. Wasn't that the turtle that,
In Godzilla?
that fought with? Yeah.
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 So if you're going to dress up as Gamera,
Yeah.
you're going to know that people are
That
going to look at
sexy
your
shell.
shell. They're going to
That push-up shell.
and
That's
they're going
right.
to think that you are.
Why did I picture Dave's face doing that too? For some reason.
It's anyway. There's entire websites devoted to this. It is.
Yeah.
Playboy.
It's a slippery slope for both
is.
parties concerned. And there's been many a lawsuit involved.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like at the end of the day, just don't engage. They're like
Don't engage.
beautiful
They're on stage.
tigers
They're-
in the wild.
They're like
Do not engage.
They're like strippers. Don't touch.
Yeah, don't assume strippers like you
He's
either.
not. But he's not. He's not.
He's not.
All he did was look.
Yeah, but he was gonna go talk to them.
Well, no.
Yeah.
That's
Don't.
after.
Clarify.
That's after he got the gaze, and he probably felt bad
Yep.
because he made assumptions.
Yeah.
That's my point.
That's right.
I bet someone was just asking her a bunch of questions about the character she fucking was wearing and just nerd checking her
Yeah.
I
to
also-
make sure she knew it.
I also need to be very clear that when I said strippers, I did not mean that cosplayers are strippers. All I'm saying is
Some
I
are.
was using it as a.
That's fine.
No.
Some
no.
are.
Some
Some
are.
are. Some are porn
Some are.
actors.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of burlesque.
All right, I'm not going to back myself out of this.
No, you're good. Like I'm just saying,
you're
there's nothing
fine.
to back out of.
All right.
Yeah.
There's
You're
ton-
good.
the-
Please send all angry emails to stork
Stork at happyjacks.org, which I think is probably the mailbox is full by.
It
We have to
is.
destigmatize
It is.
cause work. You're fine.
All right, so moving on.
Third convention promotion.
Drink.
As y'all promote.
Wait, are you going to read it again? Okay, go.
Oh,
I missed.
It's short. As y'all promote the wonderful conventions in the greater Los Angeles area, you attend the most. And what did you? What happened to?
She's got a drinking problem.
I missed most of my mouth. I don't know why.
No, officer. I smell like beer, but it was only Michelob Ultra.
I won't smell like beer. It's Michelob Ultra.
It's not really beer.
Like you smell like water.
No, they add the beer smell.
Oh, yeah.
With the hops.
Just a gentle
It's a tiny
spray.
bit of beer schnapps.
No.
If you just waft it.
It's got a nice
That'll
nose.
get you high. And most of us long to join you, but for various reasons cannot. Let me return the favor. I am now on board to help run and promote Fear the Con 11. This is the Fear the Boot convention in Missouri.
Yep.
If you're a local, or Missouri if you don't live there.
Misery
When you say-
if you live there.
Or Gamera.
When do you say Mizzou? I like Mizzou the most.
So Mizzou's the actual college, though.
Yeah,
I think
Missouri
that's
State.
my
But
But
understanding.
I just want to call the whole state Mizzou because that's adorable.
The great
Like, think about it.
The
Like,
great Mizzou.
Mizzou.
Yeah, but there's nothing
Say it like that.
adorable. There's nothing
Mizzou.
But there's nothing adorable about the state.
Oh, I know.
And
I
so
wouldn't
it
go there.
doesn't
You're
deserve
good.
any kind of adorable reference.
But they have a wonderful
There's a
art.
compromise that like forms part of American policy. I won't go there, but go to this convention. I'm sure it's great. Tell me more.
They have a wonderful art,
They do.
and they have some of the best historic bridges in the world.
It's an okay arch, and Connecticut's better for bridges.
Is Connecticut have a bunch of colored
He's
bridges?
just
Yes.
firing so many shots
Yeah.
tonight.
Really?
Yeah,
I've
Connecticut-
never been to Connecticut.
Rob,
Madison County?
you're a spicy bitch tonight. I like it.
I'm a
he's
spicy
every-
bitch all the time.
Yeah, best friends.
Fear the Con.
Best friend. There we go.
Fear the Con is a small international tabletop role-playing game convention that takes place on Friday, June 22nd to Sunday, June 23rd, 2018, at the Drury Inn and Suites
Brewery Inn.
in Brentwood, Missouri.
Which is just like Brentwood, Los Angeles.
It's exactly the same.
100%.
Parking
OJ
is
lived
probably
there.
better.
Maybe. Maybe.
If you just are fine parking on a canyon.
I bet the drinks are cheaper
Yes.
too.
Yes, the drinks
on
I'm
it.
sure
Right
are
next
cheaper.
to Mr. Chin's.
Exactly.
Chin's.
Yeah, there you go.
The convention is free.
Ooh, yay!
Woo!
Our Kickstarter got us funded to hold the con,
That's dope.
but there are stretch goals we are still trying to get. The big goal is a worldwide wing night to be held on
Wow, say
Third-
that 12 times fast.
worldwide
Wing
wing
night.
night
Nope, it got bad on the first
Yep.
one.
to be held. Sorry, that might-
I can't smell anything.
I had sushi, raw mackerel.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah, yeah.
Sushi and Michelob
At
Ultra.
least it was fresh.
Yeah, it's being cooked in your stomach. It's like ceviche.
No, it's more like Luther's at this point.
Yeah, it is.
It's pickled.
I love ceviche. I can have some ceviche right now.
Right?
The big goal, worldwide wing night, to be held Thursday, June 21st, in the comedy rock star and geek fanboy Mikey Mason.
Nice.
Go to www.fearthecon.com to see what the official attendee and VIP backer levels will still get you. Any funds above and beyond will be put toward to help fund the convention in 2019.
You know, you're a stand-up comic, right?
Yeah.
You're looking for work, right? I mean, you know,
Yeah, bring me.
Fear
I'll
the
go.
Boot.
I will totally go.
Do you have a website?
Yeah, abria.com.
So go to
Really?
Talk
No
to, talk
kidding.
No, I'm kidding. Like, it's not even set up yet. I bought the domain and I'm very lazy.
That's 2 A's, right?
Yeah.
send
it's-
some emails to Abria.
Yeah,
She'll
dude,
fly her in, and
I
she'll do
super
stand up geeky comic.
I will host all your shit.
Yeah.
Wow, you don't even have an animated pickaxe gif.
You're a monster.
Under construction.
Yeah.
Flash. Slash, flash, backslash,
They
flash.
say Squarespace is easy and kind of.
Well, no, I mean, you gotta, open it.
Did
Yeah.
you say try? You were going to say you
I
have
did
to try.
open it, and
you
I was
said
like,
you have
oh,
to try.
I've
That's what
reached-
you were going to say.
Let's go to.
I just did like stare into the middle distance at like the level of nerd I'm not, which is like a computer.
See how funny she is? Fly her in. Should be
I will
great.
totally go. It will be super fun. I fucking love
The
conventions.
level of nerd I'm not.
Yeah. Just don't ask me to like respond to an email. Just call me.
Really?
I'm bad at computers.
Now, what? No. So
need
you
an
would
age-
prefer a call than a text?
Yes. No. I prefer a text me, but don't email me.
Okay, 'cause-
hold on.
That's like the threashhold with that is
How many emails? Did?
There's 3,600 emails unread.
3,669 unread. That's not a joke. I will show
I'm
you.
looking at it.
I'm
It's
a nightmare.
astonishing.
Do you realize
I'm a
how many
nightmare.
spam people you're making cry?
I know.
Well, hold on. What I want to know is Fallon could have reached out to you for a sub night
Right.
and Your ass doesn't know.
I
You're
just-
going to find out 4 years later when he's off the air.
Yep.
So
My bad. They know. That's not what comedians do. It's fine.
In,
We know
2000,
tech.
in 2008, I got an email in October saying that someone wanted to use a song I wrote in a Super Bowl commercial.
This is a true
Yes.
story.
I saw the email and I ignored it because I thought it was Bill playing a practical joke on me.
yes.
So then I got another email like a week later saying we really need to move on this because we need to get production started and da 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 da. And I'm like, and I looked at the title of the person and the company they worked for, and I Googled the company, and it was a real company. Like, I better call him back, and it was legitimate.
You can actually say what it was.
Nice.
I wrote a song called "I Wear No Pants" that was used in a Dockers commercial.
I've seen that video.
Yeah, in 2000,
Nice.
Super Bowl 2009. 2009? 2009.
Something like that.
Yeah, I think it was
and,
9.
and it was Dockers. Dockers wanted to use. Basically, they had this campaign.
Holy
ad.
shit! I remember that commercial.
They typed. That's right.
I wear no pants.
That was him.
I wear
That
no
was why.
pants.
That
Yeah, I
bought this
saw-
table. That commercial bought this
Hey,
table.
this is a nice table that I've spilled a teensy amount of beer on.
You're not the only one.
It's almost beer.
Oh,
Like 1% beer.
1%
Nearly
beer.
there.
Sweet.
But he quite literally almost. He was one delete away from not getting that gig.
Now,
Yeah.
is that because Bill's inherently a dick and tries
No,
to
Bill
prank
was
you?
in San Francisco at the time.
Yeah.
And the Draft FCB, which is the company that was the marketing company that was doing the ad buy for
Yeah.
Dockers.
Dockers, is up there as well. And I thought, this is so like exactly the sort of email that I would jump on.
Yeah,
And
right.
Bill knows that.
And it's also like, why would you pick that song? What's the most obscure thing ever?
I thought you
What's
want people
wrong
to
with
wear
you
pants.
people?
Yeah, right?
And so I actually emailed him, and I said, I got this email, and I just want to make sure, are you fucking with me? And he's like, no, dude, I swear to God I'm not.
Which is like, that doesn't inspire confidence in the response.
Yeah.
Well,
No, we've known each other for way too long.
As the story played out, they had a marketing ad, and there was like, what about not wearing pants? And so somebody Googled, "I wear no pants." First thing up came
That's
up the
dope.
video. They were like, "Hey!" They
Nailed
talked to
it.
a couple of people. They reached out, and that's how it happened.
That's
but that's
very cool.
all
I'm
it
in.
takes sometimes.
I'm in that video.
Yeah, okay, I will check my
You
emails.
are.
The moral of the story.
Oh, in our video.
In the audience one,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Nice.
They wouldn't let us anywhere near the commercial.
No.
No. For
No one wants to see
obvious
us
reasons.
wandering
As
around in our
a
tiny
side
whities.
note, it was really weird when the video had premiered. The guys that were in the video were like in a bar watching it happen, and they're all like, "Ah!" And then they're singing the song, and I'm watching them sing our song, and I'm like, "This is the most surreal
That's
experience."
very fucking cool.
And meanwhile, we were watching the show too because we wanted to hear the song,
Right.
and it was very.
And that was
very
weird. It's very weird.
Very
That's
weird.
very cool, though.
It's awesome.
Anyway,
Nice.
Okay.
there's more.
Anyway,
Yes.
also at to help fund the 2019 convention, also at Fear the Con website is a link to the convention planning site, Con Planner, where games are posted. Register at this site to sign up for or post games. Also, if anyone comes out in the days leading up to the convention, we will gather to do the tourist things in St. Louis. That would be the Arch, and probably some.
There's a cool museum with like a playground, I think.
Maybe.
You can
There's
like
a
crawl.
It's been a long time since I've been there.
so.
I bet there's some brew
There's a
pubs.
river.
There's a mud pit that they call a river.
They got flat bottom boats that you can gamble on.
Oh,
That high
won't you
north?
take me
Yes.
home tonight.
Yeah, they do.
I've been to St. Louis because I
I
have
have to.
relatives that live in St. Louis.
My sister lives in Kirkwood. My sister / mom lives in Kirkwood.
I had an uncle lived in
Wait,
Moberly.
what?
You know what?
Hold on.
This podcast has
Hold
gone
on.
on way
Off
too
air.
long.
Off air.
He'll tell you later.
Are you secretly Jack Nicholson?
He'll tell you about the family bush. It's fun.
Cool! I love you!
Yeah.
Not only is he Jack Nicholson, he's also Jack Nicholson's dad.
I'm my own grandpa.
Nice.
And their families.
Almost.
Sites that are a favorite to Fear the Con veterans and their families include the Gateway Arch, the St. Louis Zoo, the City Museum, and the St. Louis Science Center. Also, on Wednesday, June 20th, we will gather for booters and shooters at the St. Louis Sharpshooters for a time of shooting firearms. Even if you do not own any firearms, you can still have a good time shooting, as others will allow you to use their weapons to familiarize yourself with the basics of shooting and the specific firearms they own. Just purchase ammo to share and be willing. Don't fly with ammo.
Don't do that.
Just to let you know.
It's
That's
nope.com.
very funny.
It turns out
You
they
shot.
a
react
thing.
well to bullets on planes.
It's a
Yeah.
thing.
Nor snakes.
Nor snakes.
Nor snakes.
I was
If you
so
put bullets
disappointed in
in
that
the-
movie.
It's actually like
I
loaded
was at the
bullet in
premiere.
snake.
I was at the Hollywood premiere
What?
of Snakes on a
Nice.
Plane. Yeah, it was awesome. Front row. Legitimately
Of course
front
you were.
row.
There was nowhere else in the theater.
Me and Sam
It was
Jackson.
terrible. It was terrible.
Just
movie.
hanging out,
Yeah.
high-fiving the whole time. That's cool.
It's cool. He gave me a Kango hat.
That was extra funny for me. Thank you.
And clean the weapon after you're finished. If you can bring firearms, please do so. Don't fly with firearms either.
No.
There will be more info on the Fear the Boot forums as we get closer to the convention. The biggest thing about Fear the Con is that it's a chance for the Fear the Boot community to gather and see one another in person. I know there are a lot of crossover between Happy Jacks and Fear the Boot. For those who revel? You mean
think you
you
meant
mean
revel.
revel, sir?
No, it's revile. It's revile.
For those who revile in JackerCon, come on out to St. Louis and meet your extended
Just
gaming
keep
family.
smacking us down.
Yeah, it's like kissing cousins.
That's right. By the
especially in
way,
Missouri.
That's a Missouri thing. Yeah, you
the
got it.
spring thaw is coming, so there's lawn mowing to be done.
Oh yeah, don't you guys? Well, they haven't been on the show for a while.
What did you just say? I'm from California. What?
The thaw.
It's a long story. We have to go out to St. Louis once in a while to mow Dan's lawn because he's the guy from Fifth.
Yes.
Guys,
Sweet.
yeah.
Thanks for letting an old fat jarhead rant. Keep on keeping on. Sergeant Dan, USMC retired. USMC retired.
Thank you for your
P.S.
service.
Drink.
Semper Fi.
Yep.
PPS, feeling low or angry or sad, go to church. Why? He is running Traveler at Fear the Con. There you go.
There you go.
Cool.
All right, last email.
GM
motivation from Brian. And it's
I think that's mine.
That's you.
Probably. I don't know what that word is.
Salante.
Salante
Salante.
stew.
Is that like Scottish?
Irish.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Gaelic, probably.
Schwarn.
Yeah.
Probably Irish
I can't
Gaelic.
say the girl from Lady Bird's first name.
Oh, Sorsha?
What?
Yeah,
Saoirse
that's
Ronan?
not the letters that were given to me
No.
in order to make the name Saoirse.
Yeah. Saoirse.
Yeah, but it's
How's
like
it spelled?
Sauries.
That's okay because I mispronounce your name every time too.
That's fair. I mean, I am not one to talk.
Arabia?
Yeah.
Ara.
Arabia.
No, it's
Arbiata.
not.
Yeah, I'm spicy. I'm a spicy
What
Italian
is,
sauce.
what is it?
Bria, get out of here.
Arabia. Okay. Because it could be Arabia if I put the emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yeah, that's what Google's like. Did you mean Arabia? Still no Google.
Nope. Still,
Still not that.
she's a comedian. It's hard to book because she keeps getting Arabia.
The secret joke in that was that I Google myself.
Arabia.
Well, that's how you get your email.
Yeah,
That's why you want to know where you're
My
booked.
website doesn't fucking pop up because I haven't made it yet.
I also would like Samantha to hang out with you every time you're at the podcast and then recap everything, where she would change your name the entire time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That would be good.
You heard all of my teachers.
Someone read this.
Salante Stew and the Brew Crew. It's Weasel Creature chiming in from the LBC.
You know
Hey.
Yeah, I do know Weasel Creature. Yep. So the game I was GMing went on hiatus a while ago. While I've still been playing other games, my GM muscle has gone flaccid. I hear it happens to lots of GMs, and to try again later.
Especially as you get older.
And just don't put too much pressure on yourself.
It's fair.
You see,
It happens.
you say that, and then, but that
But
doesn't
that
help.
puts more pressure.
Oh no! Don't worry about it.
It happens to everyone. What do you mean everyone? How many people have you been
but-
with?
Yeah, right. Now, not helping.
This is very good.
I want to start the game back up, and the players all want to start it back up too, but I'm having trouble getting the motivation to get it going. No, Stork, I'm not talking about inspiration. Steve Jackson gave me the password to his offshore database for inspiration. But something to get me off my ass and to do it.
No, it'd take too long to explain. Let me sum up. Steve Jackson called me an asshole.
Did you deserve it?
You're paraphrasing.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
Cool.
because it's too long to explain in full.
He implied asshole strongly. Yeah.
I like it.
I asked him where he got his
He
inspiration
asked,
from.
he asked an amateur question. That's what he did.
It was a softball question.
You were just
Hoping he
buttering
could
him up.
well, I was
Yeah.
giving him like,
A
"Please tell
runaway.
us about your."
Yeah.
And
Steve
instead
Jackson
he
is
shut
cranky.
me down.
That's
Steve Jackson is cranky.
that was
Steve
awesome.
Jackson.
That
But,
was awesome.
but
I love
I'll
Steve
start a Twitter fight.
you have now been on the same podcast as Steve Jackson.
That's dope.
Yeah.
I do feel.
And Stork.
And now she's going to say, "So who's Steve Jackson?"
Yeah.
No, I will take it to the grave that I don't know.
Oh, and what's his name
I
from...
do know.
And what's his name from What is it? Geek and Sundry was on too.
Matthew Mercer.
Yeah, he was on the show.
he's the homie.
Years ago.
Sweet.
Cool. Very, very cool. I will, yeah.
I saw that tweet earlier. There were like, anyway, to the question.
You could come back on and give us an extra 10,000 listeners. Matt, sorry.
Anyone else have this problem? Drink.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll do it myself.
While I've had this email percolating in my head for a while, I may have an answer, but I wrote the email anyway in case others have had this problem and you mentioned you're short on emails. Several months ago, I'd volunteered to GM at a homeschoolers game conference that happened a couple weeks ago.
All right. Okay.
Wait, so several months ago, he volunteered to a games homeschooler that happened. Okay, so he volunteered a long time ago, and then it just happened.
Would you stop editing?
Okay.
What's wrong with you?
Look, dude.
He just needs a timeline to understand. It's fine.
You cannot have a campaign without accurate time records.
keeping. All right.
You cannot have a meaningful campaign
Actually,
unless accurate time records are kept.
Yeah.
Passive voice, please, when you're going to quote Gygax.
Sorry, can you believe that you
Fucking
were
nerds.
quoting correctly from Gygaxian?
Gary Con just was last week.
That was a good. I went to high school with.
Gary Con?
It's like a stupid joke, but also true.
Last week, Gary Con happened.
Actually,
Please. Passive voice.
It hurts me in the head. Several months ago, I volunteered at a homeschoolers game conference that happened a couple weeks ago. I ran a short adventure I've run before. So other than gathering up what I needed, I didn't really need to prep. Getting behind the screen with a bunch of players before me really helped. Brought back some of that excitement. I still haven't done anything to bring the old game back due to time constraints, but at least there's some motivation there again, which I'm sure will grow once I crack the books and start some prep. So if you're stuck, I'd say just run an easy one-shot and get the juices flowing where they need to go. Keep rolling the way you do, except for Stork, Weasel Creature. P.S. The aforementioned conference had 11 RPG slots, and 3 of them were...
Yeah!
GURPS. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? GMing can be a thankless job sometimes, and it is hard to get motivated. And the only thing I can compare it to is like maybe when the Poxyboggers are rehearsing and such. Sometimes it's just, oh my god, we have to get up, and I have it easy. I just have to drive all like 2 blocks. But there's people driving from all parts of LA, and then we get here, and it's sometimes it's a lot of work. But when we get here, we have a great time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing. It's like you get your stuff together, you get your books together, you drive down, you get the game going, and you drive, and then once the game starts, you're like, this is the best time ever.
Yep.
Oftentimes, you just have to just know that you're going to have a great time once it starts. That should be the motivation.
Have you guys ever experienced the same thing as a player? Like the same thing that Stork just described, where it's like, you're sitting there, it's Sunday, and it's
totally.
like, I don't want to go, but you know the second that you sit down, it's going to be fucking awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Or that it's not going to be
Constantly.
awesome.
Well, then you just don't go, though.
Right.
I think like anything creative inherently has that like inertia problem to overdo, to overcome, where you're like, oh, like there's this like weird mental taxing thing that you're like, I've got to like spin up to be like ready and on and good to go. But like once you remember how much like that informs part of your like personality and who you are, like it kicks in and it gets better. Like I'm just extrapolating from all the time. I'm like, I don't want to do stand-up.
That was a very lucid, clear example of it. I mean, because it's true. As a GM and as a stand-up comic or as a musician, you're on stage.
Yeah.
And it is, there's a performance element to all of these things. And once you stand up and you hit that stage, you don't want to let your players down. You don't want to let your audience down.
Yep.
You are performing. And it's amazing how uplifting that can be at that point. Most of the time.
Yeah.
And if you're inherently introverted, like there's a little more to that because like social things can be very taxing. So if you're introverted, just make sure you start off knowing exactly how much you're in for. I think that makes it easier to do if you're like, okay, we're gonna go and we're gonna like make new characters and start a campaign, but this will be done by 5 o'clock. Like, I don't care if we spent the whole time drinking and farting around, and then we picked player handbooks, but we didn't do any of the stuff. Like, knowing you have a hard exit makes it easier to be like, okay, I'm not committing to like the next 19 hours of my life being this long draining thing with people.
And here's a trick I've stolen from Stu, which is if you're GMing, have them show up at your house. So you don't have to drive to Orange County. You don't have to drive to across town.
It's just
to go
drive
into
to
the
Orange
game.
County.
They show up to you.
Fuck that.
And because they're showing up to you, it allows you time to prep. And you don't have to buy anything either. It's like, if you're going to come to the game, bring beer, bring food.
Yeah.
So you get to mooch off all your players.
Exactly.
They're bringing. So basically, you're
Why
throwing
are
a little
you
mini
telling
party.
all my secrets?
You're throwing a little mini party. They bring all this stuff to you. All you have to do
Is run the game.
read the rules a bit and run the game. And that takes the pressure off of you now to worry about everything, because basically they're showing up, and now you feel obligated because you have an audience that have paid to see your show.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're
very good.
playing correctly, I don't want to say playing right, but playing
Your fun is wrong.
playing correctly, are you also on stage? Are you also a performer?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
In some way, I don't. It's not the same. I don't think there's as much pressure.
Well, no, there's an obligation too, which is I can't just not show up for the Poxy Boggers performance because I'm going to let a bunch of people down because there's a whole part missing and their solo's missing and
Right.
whatever.
Right.
It's the same thing with the playing group. It's like I
Yeah.
can't just not show up. We're in the middle where there was a combat that was going to happen just as we started. I can't not show up.
Yeah.
I'm going to let everybody down.
Yeah. That sense of obligation I think is separate from the emotional taxation of
No,
performance.
it
Yeah.
not actually, because when you're performing and the emotional taxation, that's part of it, that's what gets you off your ass to get out there and perform every night.
Okay.
They go hand in hand. It's easy to just run away. It's easy to just stay in your man cave and not leave, or woman cave, but it's the case maybe.
It's called my
however it is.
vagina.
Damn it.
Sheath.
You're welcome back anytime. By the way. Just saying.
But you're making a completely like good point. And yeah, there's characters that you play sometimes that are like bigger. Like I've played a lot of like very boisterous bards where you're like, if I don't cut, yeah, right. But like that there's some characters where you're like, I have to come in and like be witty and like be ready to go and like. If you're doing something where you're like, all right, like I'm the clever one, or like I have to come up with like the sneaky way for us to, like, it can be as daunting as like, fuck, there's performance anxiety. Like, well, what if I'm like not my best today, and I would just like to punch a goblin.
Right.
I'm not feeling the
Oh
whole
no,
thing,
and that's true too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you show up and it's like,
Yeah.
guys, I'm not feeling it. I know I'm the face man. I'm not feeling it today.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I had a rough day at work, and it took me 3 hours to get here, and I just want to
Word.
drink beer, and I just want to sit back and kill shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
And-
We all get that sometimes.
And sometimes that's okay.
And that
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Knowing that like you're playing a home thing, like you're not necessarily like you're performing for your group and your friends, but like you're not performing for like a weird audience of the internet who will judge you and yell at you. Like if you're
well,
like
you're not, but the rest of us are.
true, but like they're your friends, so they are gonna yell at you even if you do a good job. Like
Yeah, right.
good
That's
job,
fair.
asshole. You're like
Yeah.
thank
You're-
you.
Your
Right.
point is it's still
Yeah.
and that's the thing, because you're showing up also to support your friends too.
Yeah.
You may not be feeling it that day, but if you're not there, it's gonna be TPK.
Exactly.
And you don't want that on your. It's like, where were you? We all died.
Rocks fell. We
Yeah.
all died.
That was when we were doing the fifth edition non D&D game that Jason was running for a while. He calls it D&D, but then he says, "Well, I do it this way."
Oh no.
So I give him
House rules.
shit. Yeah, house rules forever. Like explaining to Gina, my wife, like, okay, I have to go play. She's like, no, you don't have to.
No.
Not in a way that was mean or anything
Yeah.
like that. She's just like, use the right words, and I'm like, no, like there's a legitimate responsibility.
Yeah.
And it's like I realize I'm leaving you with 2 children. Good luck, have fun, but I gotta go play. I know I'm such a doucher, but like it's that idea that's where it became really taxing, and
Yeah.
then the show up and the character that I was playing was just more emotionally invested, and
Yeah.
more, like it felt like the protector of everybody and stuff like that. So I had to be there and I had to
Yeah.
be on that whole time, and it was just like
It's hard.
It was difficult. I enjoyed every single moment of it, but sometimes it was difficult until the second that I walked through that
Well,
door.
okay. Let's put it in the sports sort of. Is it fun to go work out?
I love running.
No. I hate running. It's a stupid thing. It's punishment for real sports.
Now, Yes, you're not wrong by any stretch of
But
the
you know what?
imagination.
You do it for a couple weeks, and you get used to doing it, and you
Yeah.
start to look forward to it.
Disagree.
Yes.
Disagree the most.
I did
Yeah.
until something happens, like you get injured or you get sick or something, and it's like, oh, I don't run, and like, oh, not running is so awesome. I forgot how awesome not running is.
Yeah.
Well, so it's I legitimately enjoy running, and I enjoy the experience,
let's
and I
take,
enjoy
let's
everything.
take the
But
word running out of it.
well, no. But I have had a serious motivation problem this whole year, and I hate the fact that I'm not running.
Yeah.
And I'm making the choice not to run, but I hate that fact.
Right.
And it's that same thing. Is that
I
if
guess.
I didn't show up to the game, I would hate that.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
really,
Games
really
are
hate
dope.
that.
Practice
Yeah.
sucks.
Yeah.
That was my point I was going to go to. Like, no one likes working out,
Well,
but
yeah,
everyone
they
likes
don't.
performing.
I actually read an interview or heard an interview with Sly Stallone, and he goes, "I hate working. I hate working out, but I got this image. I got to do it." And he let everybody off the hook because
Yeah.
he has to be in the gym 6 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly.
To keep Sly Stallone.
his body
and
together.
he doesn't like it. He says he hates every minute of it,
no
but
one
that's
likes working out.
That's
But that's what they
when,
pay for.
when I
There's
go,
drugs
when,
in your brain that lie to you that say it's good, but it's not.
this is not helping promoting
legal.
RPGs.
when,
But
when I, when I go to the Griffith Park, the mountains there,
Yeah.
to go on like a hike or something like that, all the time you see actors up there running
yeah.
up and down those hills.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
And they're all hungry.
yes, they are.
here's
So
the
hungry.
They look great.
Well, here's the thing. If
Not in
you're,
real
if you're a
life, only
lead
on
actor
camera.
or a lead actress, yeah, your body is your temple. You that's what you're being paid for. If you're a character actor, if you lose weight, you lose jobs. So like, oh no, we hired the fat guy. Are you losing weight? We can't hire you anymore.
Right.
So character actors, yeah, they
that's
they
not
can
what I'm
eat
talking
all
about.
they want.
That's not what I'm talking about.
No, you're not.
I just have to
yeah.
the chat room because I've been kind of
Brian
ignoring-
Dennehy is not running by you as
No,
your
no.
Don't know.
Isn't he dead?
He's driving by to the
I
donut shop.
don't know who that is.
Brian Dennehy?
Okay.
What was he in? Come on, quick.
He was in a bad sitcom on Friday nights when I was a kid.
He was in.
Step by step.
No, but that was a bad sitcom.
Yeah,
on Friday
I was
nights
gonna
when
say,
a
yeah,
kid.
there we go.
Yeah,
Sweet.
yeah. That was
I like
Suzanne
this game.
Summers.
I was going to
Yeah.
say
I
the
saw a
win.
taping of that live.
And Patrick.
Patrick Duffy.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Heyo.
Brian Dennehy was in
He's still alive.
Star of the Family, The Fighting Fitzgeralds. You've
No.
never heard of any of those?
These
I've
are,
never
those
heard
are
of
all
them.
Wind
new.
of the Lion?
Those are all new.
Wind of the Lion. He played.
Arrest
he played Teddy
and
Roosevelt.
Trial,
Just see
Category 6,
what
Dead
is-
Man's Walk,
what is he known for?
Heartland, A Rumor of War, Too Rich. I'm going back in time. Hunter, Pearl,
You're just
Founding
naming
Fathers,
nouns. These are just nouns.
Undue Influence, Evergreen. I've never heard of any of this shit.
Like, are you
I
on
know
IMDb?
Brian-
Are you on IMDb?
I feel like you're a spy sending like secret messages to like the Soviets. Like you're turning on the Winter Soldier.
All right.
Evergreen.
Here we go.
Unsure.
I'll go back a long way.
So IMDb has a known for section. It's 4 things right up front.
And he doesn't have one.
The Wind of the
Because
Lion.
you named a
I don't
one.
know what the Wind in the Lion is.
What are we
Oh,
talking
known
about?
for Rambo: First Blood.
Yes, he was
Played
the sheriff.
Oh
That's right.
shit! Yeah.
Yeah. See,
You
done.
first
He was in Silverado. He was in Cocoon.
That's
Yes.
right, Silverado, the sheriff in Silverado,
Didn't
with the
see
big
that.
fur coat.
He had me at Rambo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's
See,
shit.
that you just wasted.
Anyway, Brian Dennehy is a,
Did he? 'Cause
is a
it was
big
very
guy.
good.
I had to activate the terrorists.
Exactly. My like sleeper cell programming is like, okay, I have to go.
Wasn't that a game that you played with like radio or made with like radio signals being sent in and stuff?
Yes,
I feel like it was-
it's still
Radio.
game ongoing. It was his. It's your moment of truth.
Oh,
Conspiratorial.
Yes,
Conspiratorial.
yes,
Yes.
yeah, which
Should
we
be
were
awesome.
in.
I have to read some of the chat room stuff. Heavy Metal Just says, Abria must be on every show from now on.
Right.
One of us, one of us.
Yeah, yes!
Heavy Metal Jess is one of our longest listeners. She's awesome.
I love her name.
She's
so
up in the
we're
Northwest.
friends now.
Tomes agrees. Right?
Right.
Kurt Potts, can someone make a clip of her saying my vagina and winking at the camera? Ex-Sergeant Dan, USMC. who
Oh
was-
shit, Sergeant Dan! He's just been like, fuck you guys, I'm gonna fight you.
damn it!
He just went full Liam Neeson, like I have a particular
Or
sex.
or he could have gone Full Metal Jacket.
I mean, but which part? Because I'm thinking Animal Mother. You just lead him off a little. I love that movie. That's my
How
shit.
can you shoot women,
Yeah.
children? It's easy. You just don't lead them as much.
Actual line for the movie.
Yeah.
We had Happy
So
Jacks
nice.
are not condoning.
Good movie.
Anyway, Sergeant Ned says
Vietnam
she
War?
is awesome. Kurt Potts.
Oh, thank you. Please read me more praises of me.
His continuation. Can someone make a clip of her saying "my vagina" and winking at the camera? Because I just died. Jen Human, Bria.
Jen! Hey! What's up, buddy?
Bria is awesome.
Oh, thanks.
And that's it so far.
Sweet.
So
I've
that
been in your
all-
guys' chat
That's
during
a-
games,
that's
and I
a-
like hang out with the squad. I like them.
That's a small chat. If there's only like 6 comments.
Well, that's just
The rest are just
It was just all of a sudden
they're
it was like
just
boom, 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 a Bria love
Yeah, just
for like
just-
Thank you guys.
Just eggplant emojis the whole
yeah,
rest of
just
the
the
time.
whole way down. It's just eggplants all the way down.
That means penis on the internet.
Oh. I thought it was a. I thought it
I
was
just want to hold you, you sweet summer child.
I have no idea.
Eggplants are penis.
I have no idea.
And peaches
What are
are
peaches?
like it's usually a butt, but can also be a vagina and
Oh.
a peach.
Yeah.
What are oranges?
Is there a peach emoji?
Citrus fruit?
Yeah, there is.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's peach. You want
I
me
know
to-
there's sushi
I'll send you some
emojis, which I
stuff.
think is awesome.
My
Yeah.
favorite's a fried shrimp.
I keep getting cucumbers. What's that?
Why?
Yeah, all right. That's what I thought.
Not as big as an eggplant. That's what that
That's
means.
just your dom telling you the safe word for the day.
Yeah.
Cucumber.
Cucumber.
All right.
Fish
Whoa,
taco.
whoa! It's so
we're
hard
done.
to say
It's
around
bad.
the
That's why
guy.
we stick with avocado.
Yeah.
What?
That was out loud.
Yeah. What?
What?
I'm just saying, you're gonna go home, put a sock in your mouth, and be like, "Oh, you can say it," and I'll know. Yeah. I'm not gonna show you. It's
Yeah.
fine. No.
I have a joke
Yes.
for you.
Is it funny?
I think so. It
All
made
right.
me laugh,
All right.
but I have a low threshold.
All right. What's it? How'd you go?
I saw a bird eating some avocado toast.
Really?
It must have been a millennial falcon.
Ah, that's pretty good. That bird will never afford a nest. Never. That's a specific joke. Cool, thank you. Yeah.
You're
As someone who's like,
you're not
I
supposed
will
to laugh
never
at your
own-
dad jokes that much.
Someone's got to.
Probably a dad joke.
I laughed. 'cause
I think you need to do stand-up comedy. Just do dad jokes.
Do it.
that would be amazing.
That'd be very fun.
I love making myself laugh.
Hi, I'm Rob.
Clearly.
I really hate Skechers.
Sexual chocolate.
I can fit in the locker.
Sexual chocolate, just drop the mic. Fuck yes. Just give me like a weird Andy Kaufman, like hyper aware, like awkward moment. That's my shit.
I rewatched Man on the Moon. It's such a sad movie. It really
Well,
is.
Do you know how weird Jim Carrey was? We can't after the show.
You know, we talked
I
about this. He
watched
doesn't
the,
believe
doc-
me.
the documentary is now because they buried the documentary
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
Man on
because
the
he's
Moon.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because he went crazy there. Yeah.
but
When?
it's now
He's
it's either
Yeah.
on Hulu or Netflix, on one of the two.
I
I
think
saw
it's
it on
on
Netflix.
Netflix.
Okay,
Yeah.
I watched it, and yes, I'm like, okay, I'm surprised they didn't kill him.
I think he's gotten mildly back to more normal.
Well, he's painting now.
No, but he's got the mountain man beard.
He makes Jared Leto look like a choir boy.
Jared Leto. I will call
Leto?
my shot. I'm just saying.
Let him
fuck
alone.
Fuck Jared Leto. He's a terrible actor. I hate it.
Wow.
I hope you're watching this, Jared Leto. You can eat a dick. All
I
your
hope-
acting choices are stupid.
I hope he is too. Please retweet us at HappyJacksRPG.
Right?
Don't at me, Jared Leto.
Every
Not again.
Friday, 8 p.m.
again.
Pacific Daylight Time.
We just lost a listener.
It's all right. That guy was a clown anyway.
Who is that? I don't know who that is.
Ba-dum-bum-ba-dum-bum.
He
Was the Joker in
Yeah, he was-
Suicide Squad?
did you watch that? No, you didn't.
He was
because
only in
terrible.
it for like 2
All right.
minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was also the blind bearded dude in the Blade
In
Runner reboot.
2049.
I
Exactly.
watched it. I
He
liked
was-
it,
he had-
but I
was
don't
he in
remember
Dallas
a
Buyers
lot.
Club too?
Yes,
Remember the guy that was
Yeah.
making all the
I thought he
replicants
was-
and then
Yeah.
shooting them?
Oh,
That was
yeah.
Jared Leto.
Okay, all right.
he has a weird like he heard the I'm gonna be a method actor, and that means I'm gonna send use condoms. To be, it's
I think all he heard was
just act.
I think all he heard was the meth part.
Yeah,
Act.
right.
Yeah.
Act.
How bad can Jared Leto be? He has a huge statue of him in Brazil.
Is that
That's
a
good.
Christ the Redeemer joke or?
I
don't
guess.
get
I don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
He's kind of a Jesus. Also, I really like 30 Seconds to Mars. So
It's cool. We all have our foibles.
my bad. So
He wasn't the worst part of Dune.
that's the best you can say about someone's like.
Are
"You
you,
didn't
are you
ruin
talking, you're
the
talking about the film. You're talking about the David Lynch film, right?
No, because
No.
he was
He
he
was-
wasn't
He
born
was
then.
way too
Yeah.
young for that.
What are you talking about? You're talking about the miniseries?
I think so.
The miniseries is fantastic.
think he might have been the
he's
kid.
in good projects. I just don't. I think his acting choices are a bit.
We can talk about this
ham-fisted.
later.
Yeah,
because
this isn't the thing.
Clearly, you have
Something
opinions,
Dice.
and this is going to go on for a while.
Dice.
Yeah.
Oh, who played what
Games.
this week?
No,
No.
we're done. I got a show tomorrow. I got a lot of shit to do.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Did you play something this week you want to talk about?
No. I
You
listened
do,
to some really
clearly.
good APs. That's all. No. I want to make. I'm providing content. Damn it. What?
I got a show tomorrow.
I'll fight you.
Right out there.
Get him.
All he has to do is sit on you.
Come
and
out
you're
at you
dead.
like a spider
Look,
monkey.
No.
you know, the worst thing you can
I
do
just
is
have
actually...
to stumble on him.
I was going to say, the worst thing you can do is actually hit him and he falls on you and you're
Yeah.
dead.
But he
You gotta
will
catch him first.
He will have blown out a knee. And
Yeah,
so
but,
then I
but
win.
it would be like, "Arr," and you're like, oh, it'd be like, but never
There's a
mind.
lot of weird sounds.
Yeah.
It's
Is that
like
how fight
Time
sounds?
Bandits. It's like Time Bandits. You're like the big dude coming after. Sorry.
All right.
This has gone off the rails. I apologize.
I don't think it started on the
don't.
rails.
It did not go off.
I don't.
Here's the song. Thank you for joining us for season 21, episode 11 of Happy Checks RPG Podcast. My name is Stu.
Stork.
Rob.
Abria.
And thank you very much for coming in.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Abria.
much for having me. I've been a
cool.
watcher for a
They
second,
demand you
so
come
thank
back.
you.
So
Yep.
Please, yes, whenever.
You're coming back.
I'm so thirsty for this.
awesome.
I'm
Excellent.
so horny for this podcast.
Thirsty
I'll come
AF.
back all the time.
Excellent.
Sit around, talk about
Yeah.
stuff all day. Here, drink
All
beer.
day.
What the heck?
And thank
Yeah.
you to EasyRollerDice.com
Yep.
for sponsoring this episode. EasyRollerDice.com/bag if you want to
Bag.
get in on the Kickstarter. Thank you very much. And we will leave you with a song.
I need to upgrade my bag.
Actually, I like mine.
Hero Pathfinder, fatal savage lands. Evil plots will be usurping. Though we could do with less burping. Happy Jack's podcast will be douchebags all.
3 preceding program has been a presentation of the Angry Folk Media Empire.